Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. We are starting somewhere different today. We're in Armenia, and we're going to be flying the Fly Dubai Boeing 737-800, the PMDG 737-800 for that matter, across to Dubai. We're on the VATSIM network, of course, and Sim Update 12 has been released. We begin our journey at Yerevan, which is a pay-where airport scenery, but it's not particularly impressive. It's not one I'd recommend from what I've seen so far, and you guys can see as well it's pretty low quality for being a pay-where product. Ian, good day to you. Zato, Mike, Tim, Matthew, Badger, Altruis, Lazaros, Kalispera, David A, hello to you as well. Cornelius, Hazza, Rab and Highflyer and everyone else tuning in. Welcome wherever you are based in the world. It's great to have you on board with us today. Pre-warning, a little pre-note for today. I might make quite a few mistakes, and that is because I've done an 18-hour shift last night at work and I haven't actually slept. So we're going to give it a go. We'll see what happens. We're going to have a little journey across the next sort of couple of hours. 3-hour block time to Dubai. We've got loads of fuel on board. We thought we'd explore a little bit of Yerevan first. But there's not very much to see. There's no interior to the airport or anything particularly snazzy about it. But the apron is looking busy with Osprey, Gulf Air. We got an Emirates 777 as well, and another Fly Dubai pilot as well. Loads of Osprey on the apron. Look at that, fantastic. So somebody, oh there you go, Jock saying call signs Osprey 165. It's Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu. I just need to change it on Volanta, I think. So let me just fiddle with that. FDB 4NZ. There's a reason for that. There we go. That should have changed. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Basically, we're testing a new virtual airline system that we might be migrating Osprey Airways over to. Here we are. It is supposed to be FDB, and it is. If you look at VATSPY and Volanta, you'll see on VATSPY and the VATSIM network, our connection is Fly Dubai. But here we are, APU's fired up. We've already done the GSX loading and things because there have been quite a few updates to GSX over the last few days. So over the last 20 minutes I've been loading and making sure that there aren't any causes for concern in relation to that. So we're pretty much ready to go, to be quite honest with you guys. First time flying Fly Dubai today. It's going to be interesting. I've got the safety demonstration for the 737-800 from Fly Dubai ready to go as well. Dan, good afternoon. David, hello. And Doc, good evening. Carlito, welcome. So, we will jump in and have a little look at Navigraph to begin with. So, we're at the old terminal, Terminal 1, or the Apron 1, sorry, the old terminal. We're going to push and start facing south, and then we're going to taxi out on the main taxiway to Delta, lining up on runway 27 at Delta for a departure. The airfield itself is at an elevation of 2,838 feet, so yeah, fairly high altitude, high enough to sort of consider how much power we might need to use for the takeoff run. But the runway here is 3,850 meters long, so plenty of concrete to play with today. There's a couple of noise abatement procedures though. So runway 27 is preferential for takeoff. In case of takeoff from 27, turn is before or after overflying the city of Echmiadzin. Low overflying of that city is prohibited. So I'm going to try and adhere to that today as best as we can. Then we're going to take off on the Gossis 3 Echo departure. So after takeoff, we're going to be turning left, and then we're going to be flying outbound to Gossis at or above flight level 130. The initial climb clearance is 4,100 feet, and then we're going to zip on out. You can see here the initial turn, max 210, bank angle 20 degrees. And the city, if I can find it on, where is it? We've got 6 minutes to off blocks.
Email 37. Facing east. Traffic.
Well, one of those is VATSIM. I can't see it written anywhere. Oh well. The thought was there. We'll basically turn when we feel like it's necessary. I love how the plan's changed already. We're on Volanta as well. That's all fired up, ready to go too. And you can see that our routing today is going to take us initially through Armenian airspace to the border with Iran. Flying over Iran to the Persian Gulf before descending down into Dubai. And we're expecting the ILS runway 30 left at Dubai via Oldot and the VUTEB 3 Charlie arrival with the weather there. So, let's go for it. Rab says easy for you to say. Yeah, absolutely. Alberto, good morning to you. Rab saying the clouds in Sim Update 12 look incredible. Let's get the tug operator ready to go. Push back prep. And while that's getting in place, we'll have a quick look at this. So, cruise at flight level 370 for today. Cost index of 30 and a zero fuel weight of 56.4 tons. Gross weight of 66.6 tons. Oh dear, ominous numbers. Takeoff profile 222 D rate and climb profile 2. Alberto, I haven't fiddled with any settings actually, to be fair. I know the turbulence thing has changed, doesn't it? But I haven't really faffed too much. Flap 5, trim 6.07. This is a payware scenery dock, but it's not great, is it? .07, and there's our speed. So V1 at 141 knots, V2 142. Sorry, rotate at 142 knots, and then the V2 147, 157, adding the 10 for V2 plus 10. Gossis above flight level 130, and then we're going to be heading across the Middle East. There's no discontinuities from what we can see here, which is good. And we've already pulled in on the route data all of our winds for cruise too. Like so.
Starting engines at ramp 17.
Default is low, so you should change it to realistic, Rab's saying. So let's find that setting. We've got a couple of minutes. It's going to be in general, I assume. Flight model? No? Maybe it's in graphics. Oh, it's in assistance. Thanks, guys. Assistance options. I assume piloting. Oh, there we go. So, realistic. Lovely. Bounce me about. Everything else off like a pro. Jolly good. Okay, so 1309. Anti-collision lights on. Fuel pumps. Centre tanks on. Quick check of this. I'm getting night shift, 18-hour shift brain fog already, which is never a good sign. Okay. Yerevan traffic Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu, stand 8, push start facing south. Yerevan traffic. No, Mike, thankfully. Continue pushback. Nose right, tail left. That's the one we want. Giggity giggity. Part brake set. Dismiss the GPU by chucking the chocks off. And with 2 minutes.
All engines clear. Start at wheel.
From other bits. So Ergy says the new Mad Dog engine smoke makes his frames per second drop by 10 frames per second. My God, that doesn't sound good at all. Tomorrow we're going to be flying the MD88, the new MD88 modular sort of add-on actually, which is quite cool. Oops, packs. There we go, that's a little bit better. Nice one. Tim's Osprey Airways mug has arrived. Just in time for today. John, no worries at all, buddy. No worries at all. Hope you're well. Doc saying, a silly question? Not at all, not at all. But how do you find the actual flight numbers for European flights with the letters as opposed to the published flight numbers? You want to have a look at things like flight radar. You might find the networking and things within that will help you. So, Mats, hello to you. Good afternoon.
Set parking brakes.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Change that so it's an automatic.
657 in the queue for pushback, gate 14.
I know, John. I think it's going to be Monday now, buddy. There seems to be this continuing theme of delay all the time for that. But Hergy, I think, wanted it delayed as well. So we figured as the requester, why not delay it for him so he can join us. But the MD88 released kind of out of nowhere, actually, to be honest. There was no fanfare again, no previews or announcements or anything like that that could kind of make us get a bit excited for it. It just arrived yesterday, so yeah. Purchased it, downloaded it, got it ready, and we'll be going from Seattle to Phoenix tomorrow in the MD88. Very exciting. Slightly more modern flight deck. Good to see that still tracking away nicely.
Total disconnect. Bus pin removed.
Line up runway 27. VATSM.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Jolly good. Done the probes. They're all set. Pop those on. Pop those on. Then landing altitude is set. The cruise altitude is set. Don't need the logo lights. We've got steady anti-collision lights, and signs. They're all set and good. Engine starters onto continuous, and the taxi light is on. Having a little look at the rest of the overhead panel just in case there's no warning signs or anything that looks out of place. And actually now we can turn the APU off. We want flap 5 for departure today. And we've got VOR tune just in case. We're going to go to the systems page. We're going to do some control surface checks. Yeah, hello, buddy. Yeah, massively. But it was an interesting morning, shall we say. I can't really discuss what I do, but a very, very interesting morning, to be fair. So I didn't mind staying on 10 hours longer than I needed to. Although it was incredibly painful. LNAV, VNAV, auto thrust, and the fly-to-by safety video needs to begin.
Runway 27 with the departure of Goose 3 Echo.
Yerevan traffic, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulus taxiing to Hold Point Delta runway 27 via apron 1 and the main taxiway. Yerevan traffic.
Ramp 15 onto the main taxiway, holding point Delta, holding short runway 27.
We're about to begin the safety demonstration.
Yeah, that's a shame, Herg, if that's the case. That needs to be raised in the forums, really.
Equipment on board this Boeing 737-800.
Custom cabin.
Look
at this. Lots of effort's gone into this. Beautiful seats.
And life jackets. It also shows the brace position you must adopt If you hear brace, brace.
Oof. Up he goes. Crunch.
There
Grind.
are 8 emergency
Oh
exits.
my God.
2
Is that
doors at
max
the rear
rate?
of the cabin,
Welcome to the
4
Yerevan
window
Air Show
exits in the centre of the
2023.
cabin, and 2 doors at the front of the cabin. Floor level
First time flying on
lighting
Sim
will
Update
guide
12.
you to an
No
exit.
idea what to expect. I know
Please
the
take
latest
time to
graphic
locate
driver
your
for some
nearest
people have had
exit,
a couple of
and
issues.
remember that the
Alberto
nearest
says, by the way,
exit
love the new designs for the merchandise mugs. Going to have to update mine.
to use an escape slide, leave all hand baggage on board.
Glance, this one I'm just playing off YouTube today. I haven't yet downloaded them into the Luke Air tool, to be fair.
Adjusted and opened like this. It should be loosely fastened throughout the flight when you are seated, and must be securely fastened whenever the seatbelt signs are on.
EMAT-7, airborne
If there
5000
is a failure of air
Goosey,
supply, oxygen will be
Echo
provided.
departure
Masks
on
like
Goosey.
this will drop from the panels above your head. Remain seated and pull a mask towards you. This will start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. The elastic strap is used to hold it in place and can be adjusted.
Those of you who are
Remember
wondering
to
where
put
my
on your
new
own
PC
mask
is, that is
before
on the
helping
way.
others with theirs.
I'm hoping
A
it will be
life jacket
delivered
is stowed in the
in the
panel above
next
your head,
week.
or if you're
Basically,
seated in the
PC
front
specialist
row,
contacted me
under
and
your
said
seat.
that it's on track for delivery
In the
within a
event of
15
landing
working
on
day
water,
time
and
frame.
only when instructed to do
As
so
of
by the
today,
cabin crew, remove
what day
it
is it
from
today?
its
Is it
stowage
Friday?
and place it
As
over
of
your
today,
head.
that would be working day number 10, I think it is.
Past
Yerevan traffic upgrade. Alpha is going to be joining a combo line down at taxiway Delta, taxiing via apron to main taxiway and Delta to runway 27.
Have a little screenshot with a couple of Osprey.
If the life jacket fails to inflate or needs topping up, blow into this tube. There is a light for attracting
Yeah, I kind of
attention.
chased them up and said, "Oi, what's going on?"
Remember, do not
Where's me
inflate
PC?
your life jacket until you are outside the aircraft.
Mervyn traffic,
We also carry life
correction,
pots for
Emirates
babies and
5833
life
landing up
jackets for
runway
infants.
27.
Please now ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. Your seat is in the upright position and your tray table is stowed. Once again, mobile phones must remain switched off for the duration of the flight. And smoking on board this aircraft...
Crikey, D-Pod, that's mega.
times. Thank you for your attention.
That's a huge delay.
Gonna wait for company traffic to pass by, then taxi.
D-Pod saying he got his PC specialist, ordered it in November 2020, and it was only delivered in April 21 because of the ridiculous 3080 waiting times back then. Those chip shortages, my goodness. At that point, I'd be questioning the actual value of the... I'd be saying to them, I want discount. Because that is madness.
Yerevan traffic, Osprey 569 pushing, starting.
There's another 7-3.
Stand at 15.
Loads of Osprey, my goodness. So, for those of you who haven't heard of it, we're looking at a new virtual airline system called New Sky. It's similar to FS Hub, but it's a much sleeker, fresher, more modern, more integrated, all-in-one style of virtual airline software. But there is also much more realism involved as well. There are two options. There are free flight mode, which is what we're using today because we don't have a routing or scheduling sort of system or network for Yerevan. Why? So we're using free flight, therefore we can fly any aircraft. But we still have to bear in mind expenses, passenger demand, load factors, delays, flying accurately, and all that sort of thing. 'Cause otherwise we can incur fines to the airline effectively. So we all have to try and contribute to making the airline profitable, and the most profitable on the New Sky network as well. We all compete, all of the airlines on New Sky compete for market share effectively. So we're kind of testing it out, learning the systems a little bit before we actually decide to commit to making the move. We've got a few of the systems being sort of ported across at the moment. To see what it looks like effectively. Should be quite exciting. But the realistic mode is a lot more realistic. It operates very much like a real airline would. In effect, say for example we have one Boeing 737 at Manchester and that gets flown to Athens. That then needs to be flown back from Athens to Manchester by a pilot, whether it be the same person on a second sector or someone else, to make sure it gets home back to base so that someone else can fly it somewhere else, if that makes sense. So there's kind of two modes to it, which is quite cool. A career mode, that's probably a good way to call it, isn't it? That scheduled mode for the airline. And then a bit of more of a free-for-all. So I think most of us, in fact all of us, are using the special mode today, the free flight mode.
Yerevan traffic Osprey, Emirates 58333. Airborne 4700.
Saeed Atif, Ramadan Mubarak to all the Muslims around the world.
That's what happens.
Yes,
when you
Eid, isn't it, I
fly
think?
Every single time.
I can relate to that.
Yerevan traffic Sky Dubai 716 departing runway 27, got the 3 echo departure.
Miguel, not yet. Still waiting. We're just saying they're hoping to get it delivered in the next week, basically. So maybe the end of the week, the end of next week, I might be getting it. Who knows? So start 2 minutes for the departing traffic ahead, so we get that separation. Yerevan traffic Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu, VAR Delta lining up and waiting runway 27. Strobe and steady on the active. There are little things as well with the way New Sky works. So, for example, we've just crossed the threshold to the runway, or the stop bars, sorry, on the runway. So we need to turn our strobes on. If we don't, it's counting how many seconds we don't have the correct lights switched on for, and it will then penalise us. Same with after takeoff now. When we go gear up, it's counting the seconds at which there should be a gear retraction. If we go beyond the time we're supposed to retract the gear at positive rate gear up, it's then counting the seconds and it's slowly assessing to see how long it takes for us to do it, because effectively it's going to deduct points. So, not long to go, just about another 30 seconds or so to give the aircraft ahead a bit of a chance. We're going to pop TARA, fuel flow reset rates, that page is off, that's all good, that's set, and traffic mode on. Pop terrain mode on as well. Oh, Dan is saying if tower etc is online at VATSIM, it will also then deduct points if you're not tuned into them whilst at the airport. That's quite cool. Yeah, we're on Unicom today. So, let's go. Hugo, hello buddy. How you doing? Hope you're well. The big tick. What are we doing? Gossis 3 Echo departure. Yerevan traffic, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu's taking off runway 27 Gossis 3 Echo departure. Get that control visualizer up for you guys. Brakes off. We'll go for 40%. It's also assessing on the takeoff, making sure our wings stay level on the rotation, making sure we maintain the center line. It's assessing a lot so we fly as accurately as possible. It's effectively turning Osprey Airways into a proper career mode. Here's the call-outs. I actually find it, I'm very conscious that I need to score high, so I'm super concentrating.
V1, rotate. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Thankfully not, Dan. Because otherwise the answer would be no. Okay, turning. Autopilot 1 engaged, don't have VNAVs active, gear lever off, auto brake off, landing, runway turn off lights on, brilliant, there's my first penalty. Didn't take me long, did it? Ah! Through the flat retraction speeds.
Yerevan traffic, Golf Air 237, taxiing, holding point 27.
And continuing the climb up. .37.
Yerevan traffic, Osprey 2472, push back once company aircraft has passed.
M1 mode active. And gear, flaps are up, no lights. Away we go. I'm not losing speed, Doc. Don't know what you're about. There was an initial climb clearance of 4,100 feet, so I was holding that initially. Andy, welcome. How you doing? There's our shadow. Actually looks like a bit of an F-18, doesn't it? Oh, where's it gone? Just as we zoom in on it, it disappears. Aaron, so yeah, there are a couple of SOPs that we can set. So landing lights need to be on below 10,000 feet and turned off above 10,000 feet, otherwise that incurs a penalty. And also on the approach, you have to be configured for landing with no movements of the gear or flap levers below 500 feet above ground level. So that's kind of aiming for that stable approach. It's a very nice departure, isn't it? Look at all the mountains. It's fantastic. Through transition, so we go to standard pressure. Again, if we don't change to standard pressure through that point, then we also incur a further penalty. And we're climbing away. Wowzers, look at that. Never flown in Armenia before. This is a first for us. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? But default photogrammetry, Bing photogrammetry, that looks spectacular. Holy moly, look at that mountain. Three hours behind the skies. Block time, 3 hours 5 minutes. And for today as well, we've got the Dubai Enhancement Pack. So those of us with Premium Deluxe, like myself, and like plenty of you guys as well. Ooh, you know what? That is going to be 10,000. So landing lights off. Lights. Signs. Don't want to be getting them fines now, do we? We have to take over New Sky and make Osprey the most profitable virtual airline in the world. Hey, look at the clouds. Yeah, Rab, you were right. Clouds are spectacular. And so is that view. Holy Christ. This is default Bing photogrammetry. Look at that dam. Albeit through the engine wake there, but wow. Yeah, so yesterday I got up 7 o'clock UK time, 7 o'clock in the morning, usual time. Get up, sort the dog out, have a couple of coffees, and then basically went to work at 2:30 in the afternoon. Supposed to finish at midnight, stayed on until 8:15, 8:30. I got home at 8:30 today, 8:45. So an incredibly long shift. But a couple of things changed overnight very rapidly, and I was needed to stay on basically. I don't have the glory of having the choice sometimes though sleep is always very nice. I do prefer sleep, funnily enough. Yeah, so time and a third for yesterday, Alberto. Which is not amazing. But it's better than a kick in the teeth, as we say. We're also very, very close, guys, to 25,000 subscribers on the channel. Huge milestone for us. We've been on the climb for quite a long time now, actually. So we're almost about to tick over 25,000 subscribers. Hoping it happens over the next few days, because we have got plans in place, plans afoot for quite a nice group flight in airliners as well. So we'll be flying airliners, and we'll be flying probably Osprey as well. Into Santos Dumont, actually. There we are. I'm trying to remember now. So we'll be flying around Brazil, and basically a couple of legs, maybe 2 short sectors. The final sector leading us into Santos Dumont for a really tricky approach around Sugarloaf Mountain, one of those spectacular and very sporty RNAV approaches that test us to the absolute maximum. One of the trickiest approaches. So we're looking at doing that for our 25,000 subscriber group flight. There's going to be a giveaway as well, of course, for the details of which we still haven't yet worked out, but it's most likely to be Contrail gift cards, gift vouchers, so you guys can buy what you want. And that's likely to be, I think we penciled it in for the 2nd of April. So mark the diaries. You'll see basically when it does go live, we do hit that that target. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the stream so that we can all see it. We can see when and where the group flight is going to be. We'll put the sectors in there on the channel as well, so you guys know. But for about a week's notice now, or week and a half's notice, we're looking at for that. It'd be great for some of you to join us if you are available. It's on a Sunday, I think, if I've got my dates correct and not all muddled up. How are we doing? Looking quite nice. Quick check at the front. Through 20,000 feet, lots of mountains. That mountain's wearing some special camo. Second of April, Mike, I think it was. Whenever that is. Legend mats. So let me, or Sky, let me approve you. There you go, all done. Hey Matthew, epic. Very generous of you, buddy. Thank you very much. Welcome to 5 of you getting a channel membership for a month as well. Great to have you on board with us for the next 30 odd days. So Doc, Squiggly, Birdman, Mark and Ram Transport. Welcome, guys. And big thank you to Matthew as well, generously donating 5 channel memberships. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe as well while you're here, folks. And of course, don't forget, you know the drill, press the little thumbs up. 2326, let's keep that centered and moving around. You get wrecked, mate. Captain Eli, welcome. Oh, Mikkel. Get her to join in. Get her to fly along. She could be ATC, you could be pilot. That's a mega milestone, Mikkel. Happy birthday to her for that day. Mikkel's mother-in-law turning 90 on the 2nd of April. That is awesome. Rab was hating Sim Update 12 big time for a few days, much happier now. Was that linked to the graphics driver issues that a load of you guys have been having, or was it other things entirely that were kind of causing your frustration? I know there were a few in our members section of Discord the other day actually, all sort of talking about the latest NVIDIA driver that went live yesterday or the day before yesterday, causing a number of issues with people getting that dreaded graphics card crash to desktop warning that we've not had for a little while. Oh yes, Rab, yeah, you had to reinstall twice, didn't you? I do remember that. Oh, Mikhail. How horrendous. Very small valley towns down there, nestled within the mountains. It's incredibly scenic. The urban camo on the left is not so much. Oh, Ian, stuck on the ground. I don't use Spadnex myself. I don't really understand what it is or what it does, to be honest. Our first set of contrails being picked up. Cabin altitude's good. Climbing, pressurising steadily. And we are 10,000 below cruise. Weird. She'll proceed. Seems like the that little accept command didn't work, did it? Very odd. So let me try again. I'll try type accept into the live chat. I'll use my phone this time instead, see what comes up. Ergy saying performance is definitely not better after Sim Update 12. Getting super weird stutters even in game menu. Music keeps stuttering. So, have you updated, Hergy, your FSU IPC7? There's a couple of updates for various add-ons. One of them was FSU IPC7, which was known and found to be causing significant stutters with Sim Update 12. And it was updated yesterday, I think it was, or the day before yesterday. Oh, and you're still getting the issues. That's not good. For some reason, Shilprashri, I can't accept your duel. I have tried though. Alberto's flexing is 418 points. Landing's going to be interesting. I've done something to the ligament in my right knee, and it's rather painful, excruciatingly painful in fact, if I don't sort of move around for a little while. Are you guys on DirectX 12 or DirectX 11, Fritz, and Hergy as well? Oh, Mikkel, had to buy 2 airports for tomorrow. Yeah, both of them are AmSim, aren't they? AmSim Seattle and AmSim Phoenix, which is their latest that came out yesterday. Although early in the week, I think it is. So we'll see what happens. I know performance at some of their airports can be a bit sketchy. I loaded in earlier with the Mad Dog to take the screenshot for today and found it was very stuttery. But that might have been linked to, I think, what Hergy was saying earlier on about the engine trails wrecking the frames per second. Weirdly enough, it doesn't seem like I can accept these duels anymore. Oh no, there we go. Fair enough. Well done behind the skies. SU12. Straight in for the gambling. Let's see how we're getting on, shall we? So, Valanta. We can pop these screenshots in as well. They're not uploading particularly well again today. So, front of the pack, Osprey 5 Papa Hotel in the MD82 Hergy. What have we got? Some screenies. Oh yes, there we go. I have actually, I haven't yet asked Damo to see if he's got the MD88, but I'm hoping we can get the same paint done for that as well, Hergy, if that is of interest. Look at that, epic. Great screenshots, nice one. And then ahead of us, UA37, so Emirates 37 in an A320, flying the same routing. And then we've got Zato, Emirates 5833 in that oh, it's an A300 600R. That explains the weird rotation, actually. Hopefully, that aeroplane is coming very soon to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Emirates 37. Oh, then Zato. Hazat, Flydubai 716. Dropping in some screen grabs. Oh, they're fantastic. The livery that we're using today, by the way, is painted by Steve Drar, one of the folks that's been on the tech team, or the sort of aircraft paint and beta testing team of PMDG for a little while now, and makes some absolutely fantastic repaints for things. David as well behind Osprey 71 Alpha Golf in the 737-700. Don Carlito flying by 784. There he is, on the bank out. It's going to be interesting to see how much revenue we all earn as well, in contrast to one another, at the end of this. And then how many we got on final. There's Peter, Osprey 32. We've got Charles, Emirates 456, and Osprey 569 lining up about to depart. Ian's down there as well. Where is he? Osprey 1155 for the 737-900, and then there's Ian, Osprey 2472, trying to work out his SPAD next issues. Just zoom along with us. Still over the mountains, really picturesque actually for us today. Lifetime live weather, of course. Scott, hello. Flew from Yerevan to Tehran once. Beautiful scenery. Crikey. I mean, it's a you wouldn't think it, but it's an incredibly mountainous region. I'm trying to find the right screen, the old screen grabby bit here. But actually, you know what? While we're here, let's look at this. Here we go. Look at this cabin. So actually, I don't think this was painted by Steve Drar, thinking about it. I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. I think it was painted by somebody else using... oh no, I'm getting it confused. Yeah, this was painted by Steve Drar. Tomorrow's livery was painted by somebody else who took real reference images of the last Delta Mad Dog MD88 that we're flying tomorrow and created a livery for it. But Flydubai shop, the safety card as well, there in view. Andy. Well, that's some extra leg room there. It's quite a wide extra little section. A couple of those rows. Mike, so I'm just using the custom view commands that I've got set. So Alt 1, Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt 4. I think, yeah, there we go. They did a custom cabin as well, or a custom galley, I should say, with a couple of decals. So the lavatory has got a few signies on it, and the galley cuts as well. There we go, cruise. We caught hazard already, my goodness. So that is Hazard ahead of us actually, 1,000 above. And still climbing, so Hazard's going to be cruising flight level 390 by the looks of it. How far ahead is he? 5 miles. How did we catch you so quick? Doc was mentioning something earlier on. Let me find that that message. Oh, there we go. Left is Azerbaijan, and right is Georgia. And actually, look at those contrails. They actually look better this this time round, don't they? A clear, prominent 2-engine set of contrails there. Heck yeah, won the duel. 20 points. A little bit of a crosswind for us to contend with today in cruise, 36 knots right to left. David, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing, buddy. That could mean we're going to get some incredible screenshots here. There's our contrails. You can see another one behind on the left there. Hey, Shadowbox saying, what is this dueling stuff? So basically in the live chat, since ages, effectively we, every time you guys chat and interact in the chat, you get points, and Streamlabs has been totting it up quietly in the background, and I think about 2 weeks ago somebody pointed out that we can set up these little gambling things and duels and all that sort of thing, so you guys can actually use and steal and gamble points, roll the dice and all that during live streams in the chat. So we thought we'd just enable it and see what happens. David, good question actually. It's not great. The 787 is not great in MSFS, sadly. Landing it nicely near on, well, it's quite difficult I think most of the time, to be fair. So it's unlikely you're personally doing anything wrong. Although if you're using numpads, that does make your job a little bit harder, to be fair, than using like a yoke or something. The only thing I'd be able to maybe suggest is ensuring that you don't flare majorly, because the aeroplane seems to flare itself, which is a bit weird. Yeah, it's one of those things you're just going to have to try and try and fiddle around with and get used to, and try and find a happy norm, or happy sort of middle ground. MSFS. Who else has had this recently? Has anyone else had that pop up? I had it earlier on actually when we were on the ground at Yerevan. One of the things that frustrates me incredibly is the server issues with MSFS at times. Matt's was having it a couple of weeks ago, but not recently. Interesting. Grant had it last night. Andy, that was when the pop-up came up. Basically, VATSIM had almost forgotten where the aeroplane was. So, Matthew was asking, how does a plane... where's that question gone? I'll ask all of you, I suppose. Question time. In real life, how does a plane know the wind's aloft? I'm going to suggest mathematical calculations and then working out sort of heading versus track and the winds, sort of, yeah, the static pressures and things through some of the, I don't know, the pitot tubes and that sort of thing maybe, and then offsetting that, calculating that against the wind that it's detecting, maybe triangulating it against this as well with the true airspeed. I mean, that sounds a much better answer, Doc. Doc's saying there it knows the true airspeed and it knows its ground speed and drift. G'day Edmund, welcome. Hope you're well. Enjoying Sim Update 12, I'm sure. Oh god, look at all that patchy land. That's going to be the data issue, isn't it? So, how safe is it to head into the menu and turn that back on again? I don't know if it's a gamble worth paying. Heading versus track. Interesting. So calculated true airspeed versus ground speed. Heading versus track. Then it does some trigonometry to find out the wind vector. Mike says don't do it, and Altruis as well, don't do it, you will crash to desktop. We've almost got him. I'm very tempted to throw some more coal on the fire. Grant, so it won't automatically reconnect because it's decided to switch its own data services off entirely. So because of that, it won't automatically reconnect. What it's done is it's just automatically turned off disabled photogrammetry inside the settings. Why, I don't know, but Andrew, nice one, thank you, buddy. I think I've just seen that pop up on my phone actually as an email. I do want to press the button, Alberto, but then I'll be absolutely gutted if I crash to desktop. God, yeah, look how bland that looks now. The difference is huge, isn't it? A Shadowbox, no, not officially. We're still in effectively a bit of a transition period, I suppose, but we're still testing it, working it all out as well. Yeah, we haven't yet sort of made the proper move. And you can double log as well. Aaron's just read the New Sky Wiki, slightly terrified, here goes nothing. It's very in-depth, isn't it? They've thought of a lot of small things that aim to try and make it that little bit more realistic. Mike, yeah, no thanks. Based on the feedback yesterday. Thankfully the 737 still flies and looks fantastic, so that's not too bad. Peter says, don't know why I don't leave things alone. Crashed the desktop yesterday, no autopilot today, and hand flying it at the moment. Good grief. Did you align your IRS, Peter? That might have been the issue. Your autopilot maybe not working. In which case, if you've got a QRH, you might be able to kind of force align it, so at least you have like heading mode, basic autopilot modes to use to kind of relieve that pressure for you. Fritz, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys want to, I mean, yeah, if you think that's a good idea, Fritz, it's pretty much there, isn't it? We can add things as the flights ramp up, and then I guess we can then react dynamically to how many aircraft in the fleet we need to lease and everything else. Lazarus, interesting. Grant, my Gulf Air Phoenix is currently stable. Robert, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing, buddy. Great to have you with us. Is there, oh, here's a question for you, Fritz, actually. Is there a dedicated link to Osprey on New Sky? I'm going to have to try and click it and find out here. Search airlines. I reckon we can take over New Sky very quickly. Yes, we can. There we go. Okay. So, in the chat then. Clicky clicky if you want to join. There we go. Andy, so it's a virtual airline client effectively. So like FS Hub, but it's much cleaner, much fresher. A hell of a lot more realistic as well. So there are two modes effectively to New Sky within Osprey Airways. There's a career mode, like a real one, which is using the airline's scheduling system, the route network, the fleet network to fly basically for the airline. That is the best way to fly in the sense that it generates the most revenue and everything else as well. And say for example you take Golf Bravo Victor November Golf for 737-800 out from Manchester, and you take the flight to Athens. What that will then do is, well, once you fly it to Athens, somebody has to fly it back, like would happen in real life as well. Whether it be yourself, if you've just flown out to Athens, you could do a turnaround and head back to Manchester, or effectively, master caution, or you can leave it in Athens and then someone else will have to move the aeroplane back and fly it back operationally as well. Yeah, if you join New Sky, by the way, folks, you can just leave the New Sky Academy VA straight away as well if you just want to join with Osprey. You could fly for New Sky Academy once or twice so you get used to how the system works before then actually flying and logging with Osprey Airways, but it's up to you guys. The second mode is what we're using today, and that's free flight. So you can take various aircraft, whatever route you want in the world, and you can fly where you want, when you want. But there are still caveats to it. So each airport has got a demand. You know what? Let me try and bring it up so I can actually show you guys. Standby caller. Window capture. Yeah, it'll make more sense for me to actually show you effectively. So, oh, I wonder if that'll work. No, that's not having it. So, let's use Edge. Okay, so that's our checklists, but I'm going to use Microsoft Edge to navigate to New Sky. There we are. So this is New Sky. This is the new virtual airline client that we're slowly migrating towards. So effectively you hit register, you pop your details in and your home email, password, you set up an account, and then it asks you to join a virtual airline potentially, or you'll get this. So let me just hide it while I log in, because I can't remember what my password is. There we go. Happy days, I've got it. Window capture. There we go. So you can see we're currently operating the Yerevan to Dubai route. So we were talking about thanks Fritz. We're talking about free flight mode, which is what we're using today. So effectively, within the airline, there are aircraft in the fleet. Let's go to normal mode. Aircraft in the fleet, lots of different aeroplanes, more so for MSFS at the moment, but we're going to add some of those for X-Plane, for the pilots of you amongst you that fly an X-Plane. Boards, pilots, flights in the last 30 days. Where is it? My goodness, I'm still learning the thing. Actually, right, so I'm going to go to manage actually. Here we go. So you can see here there's expenditure reports and all that sort of stuff. We have airports that are set up for our routing system, fleets as well, along with some actual schedules with flight numbers. Now if you were to say book Manchester to Oslo, you can then generate a SimBrief flight plan that will automatically generate inside the New Sky client for you, which is really neat. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong screen here. Yeah, there's two screens up. Here we go. Right, anyway. Sorry about that. Let me switch on here. So, my flights, no, my airlines, Osprey, here we go. You can tell I've had no sleep for like over 20 odd hours. Okay, so there's the revenue stuff. Expenses, the airplane gets, or the airport gets charged for fuel, handling fees, schedule fees, airport fees, fleet fees, and penalties. There are various penalties based on what happens effectively. We've got some tours. So some of the tours that we've got on FS Hub, we're bringing across to Osprey Airways on New Sky. So you can actually just scroll across, find the one you want, hit play, and it will tell you which ones to use. Hey, Shadowbox, no longer green. Thanks for being with us for over a month. So yeah, we were talking about free flight and career mode, so the two different versions, weren't we? So Manchester to Oslo, you fly the Osprey 104, whichever aircraft you select, to Oslo. That aeroplane is now in Oslo, so it has to be flown back to Manchester before it is made available again for any other Manchester routes, because it's in real life stuck in Oslo. So it's like the real mode of it, if that makes sense. If you push back too early, you might leave passengers behind, you get fined. If you leave your landing lights on for too long after 10,000 feet, you get fined, all that sort of stuff. So it's all about landing and flying as accurately as possible. Ultras, yeah, so it's called awards, and then I think you should be able to click play, which it says start now, and you should be able to then actually begin it, if that makes sense. But if you were to fly on free flight, which is the mode we're using today, you can basically create whatever flight you want in whichever aircraft you want, and it doesn't matter if you then leave it there and then jump somewhere else entirely in the world the next time. Andrew's saying, would it have to be the same exact aircraft because I've only got the 600 and the 900-900ER? No, that's a good question. So if I go to the fleet tab, we've got various aeroplanes. So for example, we've got the 737-800, the A320neo, the 737-900, the A330-900, the Phoenix A320, so on and so forth. Some of these schedules, you'll notice that Osprey 106 flight only uses medium aircraft, but it means you can fly any of them. The 737-900, 737-800, 737-600, A320, A310, A320neo. I do need to change that though, because 737 isn't included on that. There we go. Because we've added that aeroplane. So a lot of these functional bits that you're not seeing, well, you're seeing at the moment, sorry, on the screens, you probably wouldn't get access to. Instead, you would see, say, for example, the main splash page of the airline, along with some of the awards. Well, it says no results there. I might actually have to speak to the developer about it to try and work out what that is all about. I would have expected to see some here. Although maybe it's because I haven't started them. Hold on. Let's actively test it as we go. Started close. It's indefinite, I think. Oh, okay, there we go. So I've started the award. Started the award. Started the award. There we go. Boom. My Airlines. Osprey. There we go. Oh my days. Okay, yeah, so there we go. It says tours available now as well. And we're going to aim to transition all of them across, including that mega Commonwealth tour too. Order pilots, including a weekly score. So if we looked at, if you don't mind, Fritz, you can, I can view, I don't know if you guys will be able to view as well, but various different airframe statistics. So you can see that he's flown the 737-700 more over the last few days than any other aircraft, but on the Edinburgh to Bergen route he actually operated at a slight loss, so he made the airline a slight loss there. However, the flight from Shannon to Gothenburg attracted a balance, a profit for the airline of $11,558, which is quite cool. So we all have to effectively work together to try and make the airline as profitable as possible. But then for those of you who don't like to fly along with us live and you like to fly offline perhaps at other times of day or night, you can also help us in the stream. Because if we look at, I don't know, Dubai, we're flying to Dubai today, aren't we? We look at Dubai, we've got the live map active, you can see all of the flights inbound to Dubai at the moment, including ourselves. If we were to click on there, we get like a spider web diagram, and that is showing the demand in certain directions of flight. So if you knew that we were going to be flying from, I don't know, Dubai to Heathrow, for example, next week, but you saw that the passenger demand going northwesterly was actually quite low, what you could do is fly passengers from Heathrow to Dubai so that they're all in Dubai ready for us to fly back for that stream. So you guys that are flying in the background for the airline can be even more involved with the streams. You can help set the streams up and move passengers to our starting locations for the stream, which is a really cool way of being involved in the stream as well, I think. So there's lots of ways to get involved in it, and it's as you can see, it's a really clean UI, night mode as well, all that sort of stuff. If we click on my flight today, you can see lots of different statistics, and we're actually showing that we've departed 1 minute early, but we're shown due to arrive 2 minutes late, so I might whack the speed up to Mach 80 and see if we can get that time back, because otherwise we'll be shown landing with a slight delay. But it gives you various information like altitude, heading, ground speed, true airspeed, current location on the map, and the routing as well. What do you guys think? Currently, for the airline owners, i.e. myself, it's free. In the future, depending on server costs and things, they might introduce a price, but I would deal with that when it comes to it, because I think this offers a hell of a lot more, and a blend between super realism like that career mode we discussed and that slightly more casual type of flying that we've been enjoying for a while on FS Hub, all in one really stunning package. Hey Graham, welcome. Living the dream, Osprey 569. First flight in the Osprey gang near the back of the pack. Just reached cruise, flight level 340 in the Phoenix A320. Behaving perfectly on your first Sim Update 12 flight. Living the dream. Good stuff, Graham. Great to have you flying along as well. We'll pop the speed up to Mach 80. We'll see if we can claw those couple of minutes back. Andrew, have a great day, mate. Enjoy work. Shield Pusheries flying the 777-300ER from Frankfurt to Dubai. Nice. Looking forward to those aeroplanes coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator soon. Can't beat a bit of sunset approach, has it, can we? Always looks good. 1228 still, that's all fine. Yes, there are various things effectively for the airline, for those of you flying along to consider. Some of the SOPs, for example, like landing lights, altitude.
That looks so cool. Thanks for putting the effort in to make the best Fs community out there.
Hey, Shadowbox, thank you very much, buddy. That is very kind. Thanks for the super chat. good to hear positive feedback as well. SOP wise, landing light altitude is one of the rules that we've got set, so you have to have landing lights off at 10,000 feet. I have got a slight buffer in there because I know at that point it can be busy at times. The 10,000 feet above ground level, you need to have the landing lights off. Landing configuration altitude is set to 500 feet, but again there's a buffer there, so no gear or flap changes are allowed below that altitude, 500 feet above ground level. What else have we got? So there's a little statute that we've selected as well, so that you can read the rules of the airline prior to applying or whilst applying, and I've put a little brief description of how career mode works against free flight mode, so you can read a little bit more about that as well. But it's fresh, it's cool, we all have to work together to try and keep the airline profitable and look after the fleet and make sure the fleet are in, is in the right, all the fleet is in the right place at the right time for flights and all that sort of stuff as well. That's the one, Lazarus, yeah. So we've enabled 3 already. Oh yeah, so if you crash your aircraft, the airline actually gets fined $1 million, which can destroy the airline effectively. So there are lots of different things that you have to kind of bear in mind. Rab says you would need to fly real time only now. No, so as long as your Zulu time tees up, then it's okay. Mike Jerry saying, are we able to have hubs outside the UK too, like the US? That's another good question. So the base is Manchester, and we're likely to have a hub set up, maybe at Heathrow as well, but each airport that we have on the network attracts a daily fee. So for example, we set 10 airports up, but a load of routes don't get used for a couple of weeks. They're still attracting a cost to the airline, which needs to be offset against all the other flights going on. We can set up hubs, but the hubs have a daily fee that's even higher, but as a result of that, all of the other fees are cheaper overall effectively. Yeah, so you don't need to fly on live time, but you have to fly on live weather because it tracks your barometer altitude in the transition, as Lazarus has said. Mike, yes, in free flight. So even today we're flying Yerevan to Dubai. It's not on our route network. We have Dubai as an airport, but we don't have Yerevan as an airport. So we'll still make some money potentially, but eventually, say for example there are 1,000 passengers waiting to fly in that general direction towards Dubai. What we then will find is eventually we'll run out of passengers, which is where people can help move people to the airports we're going to depart from before the stream, if that makes sense. Otherwise, a couple of us might be operating empty aircraft, empty sectors without any passengers, and therefore it will then attract a loss. Yeah, so eventually, once it grows big enough, Shadowbox, that's kind of where we're looking to maybe grow it into. I'm sure, I think Fritz and David as well, and Carlito, we were kind of discussing that the other day. They're helping kind of get the admin for the transition sorted out. Focus cities would be quite nice to have. So, for example, we set up a focus hub at Dallas-Fort Worth. What we would have is one route connecting the UK to Dallas, so Heathrow to Dallas or Manchester to Dallas. From Dallas we can then have a load of spoke routes, a load of feeder routes from there operating to other parts of the States. For more random flights, more generic choice of routes and aircraft, free flight would be the best option. But I know some of you guys were really wanting that career mode that FS Hub just can't offer. So this offers that as well. So there are predefined, set, strict routes that are then also available to be used if you want to fly in that level of realism for the airline too. Aaron's loading in at Manchester. Never been so nervous. You'll be fine. But as Ian has said, yeah, this new VA client that we're going to transition to for Osprey Airways is going to add a whole new level of immersion. Basically, it's going to take a long time for us to transition across. I think we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 months of transition until we then shut off SF Hub, maybe. No ranks, sadly, Shadowbox in New Sky, but there are features that we can request. So that could be potentially a feature that we request and they add. One feature we have already requested is cargo. I've said to them that, you know, if we're looking to move across as Osprey Airways, we're quite a large virtual airline, actually, to be honest, in comparison to some others. And if we were to move across, we need cargo operations as well, because some of our fleet, like the 737s, the cargo variants, the BCF, BDCF, BDSF versions, they are used quite frequently, and we need to have that ability to fly cargo in New Sky. So they are working away at doing that. To be fair to them as well, the developer Robson, I was chatting to him the other day, because it is quite a new platform, effectively, a very new platform. He's working incredibly hard to try and get everything added in and set up. So tours weren't active the other day, and I said to them that we have all these wonderful tours on FS Hub, Land of the Rising Sun, Lord of the Tourings for New Zealand flights, UK Coastal Tour, the Commonwealth Tour as well, that marathon journey that we've got, and they've then sorted it out. So we're literally within 12 hours he activated tours, which is really cool. Dan says he's live on New Sky, currently free flying from Oslo to LFBO. Is that Toulouse Black now? I can't remember. Taking the 737-800 to Airbus to show them what a real plane looks like. I'm sure they'll be super pleased. David, no, sadly no. That's the only thing. So those of you who, because obviously we didn't expect to think about transitioning across. Yeah, unfortunately there's no way to transfer the awards that you've already earned across. But again, that's something, actually, David, to be fair, we could ask. We could say, we're transitioning across, but can we move across the awards that have been awarded to pilots that have completed the tours already? And I'm sure there'll be a way, perhaps, in the management screens for us to enable that if we were to ask. It might be something that they kick down the road. Oh yeah, EGNM, not ENGM. I'm so tired, Dan. You've also, with the airline, you also have to carefully configure your flights. So, for example, you set up your 737-800, but you're using a slightly warped sim breach profile, which means that you are flying overweight. They fine you massively for exceeding a maximum landing weight, because realistically you wouldn't be able to do that in real life. So you end up finding that you probably make a loss from that. My goodness, look at that. It's like we've gone straight to FSX. Ruddy photogrammetry failure. We're flying over Iran at the moment, aren't we? As I said, it would be really good if pilots could see an overview of the airline stats. Again, yeah, feature requests, we can make them. I don't know what they can and can't see at the moment, actually, to be honest. Let me have a little clicky and see. Oh, so I think you can see the flights tab, and then you can scroll down and look at there's like a little review flight log tab, and you can actually see. Unless that's maybe just with my access as the airline owner, so to speak. Yeah, departure times. So if you depart too early, then Zato, have a good one, buddy. Yeah, so departure times. If you push back too early, you will leave. You will basically, effectively leave some passengers behind and get fined. If you, you know what? Go. I'm too tired to deal with spams. You could just get hidden. Yeah, so 15 minutes either side of set departure times. Fritz is saying there for this new Sky thing. So effectively. You'll be okay within that 30-minute window. If you get delayed from departure because of a super busy VATSIM event, then that can't be helped. That's just part of day-to-day real operations as well. So you might miss your slot due to delays. You have to wait for another slot. So the airline will incur a slight fee, but it won't be detrimental. Once the transition goes ahead properly, I'll put a community post out, and I'll be working on a little video as well at some point to kind of introduce New Sky a bit better, show you guys some of the features once I've kind of got my head around some of them as well myself, and then from there we'll basically have a go live date. But it's available now. You can join Osprey Airways on New Sky now and actually help test it, give us feedback, see what you think, and begin the growth of the airline as well. As quite a few of you have already started. It's great. Swedish guy flies is asking, do you have to be on VATSIM when flying routes on New Sky? No, you can do it offline, which is really cool. So you can choose free flight or the career mode, online or offline, on VATSIM or not on VATSIM. It's whatever works for you effectively, which is nice. It does give you some flexibility still. The main thing is ensuring that you're flying accurately, you setting your departure times and your routes accordingly and all that sort of stuff. Big Docman Ting joining us. He's accepted already, Doc. Look at that. Fritz is on it. Bing! They have a New Sky wiki that you will see on the New Sky page when you're looking around their website, and inside their wiki is a load of information. So it'll tell you if you've got a crash to desktop, how to try and restore your flight, or how to cancel it, and all that sort of thing. They will talk to you, will show you in the wiki as well various different rules that you need to adhere to, like the setting of lights. It's monitoring in the sim the operation of all of the lights, some of the signs as well, different parts of the flight, depending on the altitudes, your speeds. It's monitoring your flap settings, your spoiler settings, your gear settings. It's monitoring a whole lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I can't show you guys my actual logger, which is it looks like the New Sky website, but it's actually that in an app, which you can run. It's really smart. It updates the position every 2 minutes of the aircraft. It read my altimeter change from local to standard pressure, the flap changes, the light changes, gear up, takeoff, pushback, engine start, off blocks, flap changes, what else? Yeah. And there's something horrendous. happened, then you would also be able to declare an emergency in there. Aaron, do we have a cost index? Sorry, I'm sure it'll be somewhere. That's a really good question. I think because of each aircraft being different, we haven't had any ability as yet to set a specific cost index. I think each aircraft is slightly different, so we would have to maybe work that into an SOP. He's enjoying the stunning views below of Bing Maps. Sadly, I've just got the no photogrammetry version, which is a bit of a shame, but I suppose it's quite nice anyway. Yeah, Jock, so I will be, as part of the transition across, just so you guys can get comfortable using it as quick as possible effectively and helping that transition away from FS Hub. FS Hub is great. But unfortunately, what we found is it's kind of just frozen in development, and it looks a bit clunky and it looks a bit old. And actually, in the background, behind the scene, it's actually quite difficult to work with. So this has actually been really pleasurable to set up and use so far. And behind the scenes, it's taken half the time to set up the tours. Actually, probably about a quarter of the time to set the tours up. Than it did on FS Hub. And the tours, to be fair, if you're looking to learn how to use New Sky, the tours are a really good way of learning how to use the New Sky software. The biggest thing for flight simmers is the way that it reads the landings. So you'll get simmers chase the butter all the time. That's not accurate in real life, and because of that, in New Sky, it's also a bad thing. And within the rating system, I'm trying to bring it up at the moment. So no money will be earned, and a flight won't be counted in any statistics if you change the aircraft type beyond the one that you've booked. If you accelerate the time, that's not allowed. Teleport and slew is not allowed. Mid-air refueling is not allowed. Mid-air zero fuel weight change is not allowed. The correct altimeter setting is important for valid altitude reading. So therefore it has a tolerance of 2 millibars plus or minus of the one that needs to be set acceptable on takeoff and landing to account for any changes and updates to live weather. And also 1 millibar for cruise standard pressure of 1013 or 299 inches of mercury. The nav lights or the POS lights have to be on whenever any electrical power is on to the aeroplane. That is required, just full stop, and if you don't, you'll be fined for that. The beacon lights or anti-collision lights signal to ground crew that it's unsafe to approach the aircraft. New Sky therefore require this light to be on when the aircraft is moving or any of the engines are running. Strobe lights or high intensity lights are required on runways, even when crossing the runways, any runways, and in the air at all times. And if you don't turn them on, again, you get penalised. Landing lights, again, New Sky only require pilots to turn landing lights off when above altitudes that are set by the airline. So for us, 10,000 feet by default. Below that, altitude landing lights are to be used at pilot's discretion. So if you turn them off at 9,000 feet in your climb, you won't be penalised. Stalling and overspeeding, there's no tolerance for stall conditions, and any conditions near to stall will be penalised for every second recognised. But they recognise that in cruise, sudden live weather changes can cause short overspeeds. Therefore, tolerance of 30 seconds in total was introduced to help that live weather transition stabilise. Anyway, what are we looking at? We're looking at landings. So, for landings, for example, they look at centre line, touchdown around the centre line. They look at unstable approaches. They look at speed when vacating as well to make sure that it is no greater than 50 knots for rapid exit taxiways and not above 20 knots in any other scenarios. They look for tail strikes on takeoff and landing as well, so you've got to make sure you don't do either of those. And they make sure they're looking to basically ensure that you don't exceed the crosswind or tailwind component of each aircraft you are operating. They look at long and short landings as well, so they have to basically, you need to make sure you land within the aiming point and the touchdown zone of the runway. But the landing rate, we were talking about that. So if you go for butter, it's a bad thing. As they say in the wiki, such soft landings like butter or anything like that, it might delay the activation of ground spoilers, auto brakes, thrust reversers, that sort of thing. And it also promotes floating over the runway, increasing a risk of long landing, and extended touchdown time causes more wear on the tyres. So you don't get as many points for that than you would for great. So it's kind of within more G ranges than anything else. So greasing, buttering the landing is between 1.05 and 1.1 G. Great landings, however, are between 1.06 G in normal weather and 1.4 G, or in bad weather 1.11 G to 1.6 G. So it's monitoring the weather in the background as well to help dynamically assess if your touchdown, based on the conditions, is really good or not. So if you get scored great, then you've made a perfect touchdown, smooth, controlled, comfortable, yet firm enough to activate all systems and avoid unnecessary wear and tear. And then it goes on from there. So harsher landings become average, uncomfortable, hard, bad, and then over 2.5 G, terrible. But thankfully, I don't think anybody has ever achieved anything like that before. Ellie Hugh, welcome, buddy. VATSIM, hello. Yeah, Andy, it's proper. They've generated a really comprehensive, realistic approach to management of an airline effectively. One thing they're going to be bringing in as well is seasons. So that's coming in time for summer, seasonal routes. So those of us who are kind of managing the routes for the airline, we will need to chop and change and switch them up with a winter schedule and a summer schedule to make sure that we fly where the demand goes. And that is another thing that they're bringing in, to have that realistic element to it. And you might find those shoulder seasons, as Altruist is saying, seasonal demands being interesting. You might find the shoulder seasons, you could have lighter loads. Well done, Helly Hugh. Yeah, Doc, so the more airports we add, the more daily fees we incur. So we can't add airports unless we know that they are going to be operated on regularly en routes effectively. A Shadowbox, definitely, yes. What minus 800 foot per minute landing in the BA 146? Which crash into Oslo were you on about? I don't remember either. I'm still concussed from that, actually, funnily enough. Dan was saying about the photogrammetry, yeah, so we had the annoying thing with MSFS saying that our bandwidth is too low for streaming, and therefore we've been reverted to some offline mode. Sadly, I can't change that. Well, I've been told not to. Well, Doc, yeah, the point is you log it as a flight would be logged. I mean, today, so the way you kind of get around the free flight elements, like we're doing today, is to log the flight, generate the flight plan on SimBrief, and then on vPilot, actually then configure the aircraft for configure it for the correct flight number, if that makes sense. So we're using Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu today, but we're tracking it on New Sky as Osprey 165. Dan, yeah, I was kind of told be really careful because it could induce crash to desktops. A few of the guys have had that basically. So I don't know, I'm 50-50 as to whether I toggle the photogrammetry back on or not. I shall try and find you, Dan. You were around Leeds, weren't you? No, that's Navigraph. Night shift brain. You should be accepted immediately, live and dream. So where are we? Let's come away from here. Bergen's up here somewhere, isn't it? There's green. No, that's someone else. Leeds. Actually, you can search for it, can't you? So what was the call sign that you said? Perhaps, maybe. Actually, yeah. Hopefully not. Osprey, so Osprey 87 uniform. Try not to spam commands in the chat. That one there. Where is he? Ah, there he is. Leeds Bradford to Toulouse Blagnac. With some juicy screenshots. Oof. Oh, look at that. Double contrail. Both heading towards the same centre point in the horizon as well. It's quite cool. There's Leeds. Departure out of Leeds for Dan. Love it. Loading on the punters. Money for the airline. Where are we? We're all the way over here somewhere. Bang that little screenshot in. Oh, we've got Dubai Approach online as well by the looks of it. Very exciting. So, for those of you who don't use Volanta, what you can do is you can click the airport. There we go. Actually, it didn't quite zoom in enough, didn't quite catch the right one. So you want to find, there we go, where is it? The little airport bug. There, that one. What that then does, it brings up the online ATC. You have the METAR at the very top, so you can see the QNH and the weather at the airport. And for those of us on VATSIM, if there was an ATIS online, we would see an ATIS down here as well, so we can actually read the tech status, which is really useful. Tim Huizen, welcome on board from Holland. Great to have you with us today. Thanks for subscribing. Brits is bringing pizza and pasta for everyone from Greece. Oh, nice one. We've hit 25,000 subscribers, Fritz. That's epic. Thank you to every single one of you who chooses to subscribe to the channel, watch our live streams, hit the like button, take part in our Osprey Airways VA, chat in our Discord, all that sort of stuff. It's really great to see the channel grow into the community it has become. And to have reached 25,000 subscribers is something I'd never thought would ever be a target we'd reach a couple of years ago. Yeah, so thank you very much, guys. It's amazing. The chat. Yeah, and therefore we can think about the group flight next week and throw in a giveaway. Rab, very kind, saying should be at least 100k. Unfortunately, I don't. Well, yeah, I think it would be a long time to get that far, of course, unless I put the words "real pilot" into the headline. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. There's no rush. 25k is big enough. Ian, thank you, buddy. David, that could be one of the key routes for Osprey, actually. one of our route networks. It feeds across into Canada, perhaps. Rob, hello to you. How's it going? Found your channel recently. It helped me get going with the CRJ 700. Thanks for the great videos. You're more than welcome. Thanks very much, and thanks for tuning in too. Great to hear that they were proving helpful still, those videos. Yeah, in about a week, Fritz, I could do that, couldn't I? That really annoying tagline that we see sometimes of max graphics 4K. I will actually have the spec for it next week, potentially, or week after next, maybe at least as well, with a little bit of fiddling around and trying to set up the sim on the new rig. So the METAR for Dubai, I've popped that into the live chat for you guys. Slight crosswind for us actually, but only tiny little bit actually. Winds 280 at 12 knots. We're expecting ILS 30 left, so only a couple of knots of side wind. The rest, very nice headwind. So I'm hoping for a nice touchdown rate. Oh, Ian, they still do. They still do. I mean, the other day I did a recording of a video and got all the way through to the end and realised the microphone had changed its settings automatically inside the stream software. It's just insane. Brits love it. Just completely mis-selling his stream then. Yes, a Shadowbox. The content that I actively avoid. Oh, let's see actually. I've got the Pro widget thing, haven't I? VATSIM, OMDB. You know what I should have done for today's? MSFS Sim Update 12. Pilot flies with no sleep for 24 hours. Nothing will beat the Your Control stream, my goodness. I still vividly remember how awful that was. That was horrendous. Plummeting out of the sky. That was absolute shocker, that was. And we still ended up flying to, we actually got to the destination. We flew to Frankfurt, wasn't it? We actually still made it there somehow. Goodness knows how. Troggy Poggy, hello, saying thanks for the great vids on the PMDG 737. Got a 737 yesterday and your videos helped a lot. Great to hear. If you haven't already, Troggy, go grab the checklists that I've created for the 737 and some other aircraft as well. You can download them for free on our website, britishAvGeek.com. Grab those, use them as you wish, print them out, share them around as well. Hopefully you find them useful too. Yeah, so we were looking at doing JoinFS. We put it into the club lounge as a bit of a poll. Do we do it on VATSIM? Do we not? Do we do airliners or GA? That sort of thing. And this time round, airliners were predominantly the choice, effectively. Oh right, Hergy. Feed that back to Damo actually, because I'd not noticed that myself. It's a really good spot. Should have noticed it. I'm obviously not looking closely enough. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to just zip that across to a different location, nice and easy. ILS 30 left. We were expecting the VTEB 3 Charlie arrival. But all dots like so, so we can whack that in. Legs. It's going to re-look at the VNAV elements. It's kind of just basically recalculating itself there, hence the little pause, and then we can look at the arrival via Navigraph. So we don't need any of the Yerevan stuff anymore. VTEB 3 Charlie at 230 knots, at or below 12,000 feet. And then there's a hold at VTEB if it's really busy. We've got Lovok at 230 knots, at or below 11,000. We can see that set correctly in the FMS there as well for the VNAV. The PMDG VNAV being particularly good. Hey Shadowbox, have a good one, buddy. Someone tag him on Discord if I make a Mac Jesus landing rate. DB 529 at or above 8,000, that's there and correct too. Patted at 210 knots at 7,000 at or above. Then Delta Bravo 530 at or below 7,000 feet, sorry. Around 210 knots still. So holding that kind of minimum clean speed for the downwind that will extend. Now the arrival extends all the way down to DB 508. Dan.
Congratulations on 25k. Your channel has meant a lot to me personally since launch and keeps me entertained while working from home too. Keep up the great work and here's to 50k.
That's very kind. Thank you very much, buddy. And that's really nice to hear as well. I'm glad you're enjoying the content and keeping you entertained and all that sort of stuff as well. The community side of the channel is the biggest thing that I think we've kind of tried to drive, rather than it just be a YouTube channel that you guys watch content on and kind of consume videos via YouTube with. I wanted to create a big community-centric channel instead, because it's a hobby for me as well. I love flight simming, and you guys joining me makes that experience even better. Lazarus is saying, could we add a route to Athens with the A330-900 when possible? Ooh. You know what, I'll do that in a moment, because I thought we have got that there. We have got that route input, I think, for Manchester, potentially Heathrow as well. But I'll just have to double check to make sure we've got the large aircraft set up correctly for that. Dubai, as we were saying, it's got a really long downwind leg. We might get shortcut from Gergo cutting in for the final approach, but we'll just have to go by what we get told by the approach controllers. But we'll be going Gergo, Vela, Ridev, Delta Bravo 508 at 185 knots, then 507, 506, Delta Bravo 505, turning inbound then to the airfield at Aldot for the transition. Hans, awesome. Enjoy the checklists. Always free. Hopefully you find them useful. If they do, that's all that matters. Cat 2, Cat 3 ILS, we'll configure for that. But again, I'll aim to hand fly the arrival again from 1,000 feet, like I love to do. There they go. Lazarus, so Fritz is saying the A330-900 is in there as a route for Heathrow to Athens. Perfect. Thanks for checking, Fritz. From Aldot, we're going to be at 2,000 feet, max 185 knots, configuring for that final approach and establishing on the ILS runway 30 left. Septo, and an inbound course for the ILS of 299 degrees, which we need to set in both nav1 and nav2. The frequency for the ILS is treble 1.3. The 4-letter identifier that we need to cross-check on the primary flight display is India Delta Bravo Whiskey. Airport elevation is 60 feet, so we'll try and round it as best as we can. We'll select 50 feet on the landing elevation panel on the aeroplane, and the transition level there of flight level 150. Missed approach for this particular arrival is climb direct to Delta Bravo 707, then on track 284 degrees to Egnot, and join the hold at 3,000 feet with a missed approach requiring a minimum climb gradient of 2.83 degrees. Percent, sorry, not degrees. And we'll go for minimums. 160, that'll do. Now in Dubai, the controllers tend to, look at that ground chart, my goodness. The approach controllers, or the tower controllers rather, they tend to create a little bit of confusion if you've not flown into the airfield before on VATSIM, because when you fly in, unlike airports in the UK or elsewhere, they will say, for example, in our case, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu, winds 240 degrees at 30 knots, runway 30 left, cleared to land. Vacate, Kilo 9. And we would then read back, vacate Kilo 9, cleared land 30 left, or whatever. But we need to confirm as well that we are going to vacate at Kilo 9, because that is one of the instructions they require us to do at Dubai, or whichever rapid exit they give us. It could be Kilo 9, Kilo 8, Kilo 6, one of them. So you have to have the ground charts ready so that when you do get that clearance, you kind of have a quick look and go, okay, that's 2/3 down the runway, I'll need medium auto brake, reverse thrust, or something like that. It will help plan your exit smoothly. Then we have like the world's most complicated taxi in. What stand was it? Charlie 20, wasn't it? So aprons Charlie. Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. Charlie 20, remote stands. There we go. Who knows? So that's probably what we're going to get, which means we've got a long taxi in. Oh well, it is Dubai. I'll pin that chart though, so I have it accessible and ready to use. But I'm happy with the data in here effectively anyway for our arrival. Up in the overhead panel, we can bring that landing altitude down to 50 feet as we mentioned in that little arrival brief, like so. And we are now at sunset. My goodness. Look at that. Yes, Lazarus, so that's it. So you were using it, the schedule mode. So because you flew the A330-900 from Heathrow to Athens, the aircraft is in Athens still and somebody needs to fly it back to Heathrow. But if you flew it, for example, into Manchester, then it would be at Manchester instead. The way you could get around that, Lazarus, if you just wanted to connect today and say, you know what, I want to just fly Heathrow to Athens again, you can use free flight, and you could grab the A330-900 again and do the same route as an alternative way of kind of getting around that if you wanted. Certainly from Athens, I think what we're going to try and do is create a little Osprey regional base, maybe there, have a couple there. Dan, Epic, thank you buddy, upgrading to silver, frequent flyer. I did miss that, sorry, I was heads in the chart there. Yeah, thanks for upgrading. Do we want Heathrow to ENGM? Yeah, go on then. And the other thing is, if we find that certain fleets and certain routes or aircraft are particularly popular, what we can do is generate 3 or 4 of them to make sure that we've got flexibility in the route schedule for a couple of people to do overlapping flights out of, say, for example, Manchester. Looking at the log at the moment, though, as a bit of an example, we have one Airbus A320 in the Osprey Airways real mode fleet, and that has incurred a $500 loss just in one day. The storage overnight at Manchester, and because it hasn't been flown yet. So these are things that we have to kind of bear in mind whilst setting the airline up. Some of the aircraft, when you're in the fleet, have a sim brief profile attached, so when you book a flight you can click a little tab, like a little clipboard icon, and that will generate automatically a route for you on sim brief, which is a really quick and handy way of getting it all done in one click. What it will then do is, if it has a SimBrief custom profile for it, it will pull that and use it to make sure it's accurate within the virtual airline requirements. Joey, yeah, thank you buddy. Today, 2 subscribers ago, precisely. Swedish, yeah, we already have a couple of specific routes. Old Drew, only what the virtual airline own. So at the moment, I don't think we've got any X-plane fleet on there. I'm hoping we can get all of the X-plane fleet moved across as well quickly, but I need to get the registration numbers and everything else too. An overcut, yes. So tomorrow, if we were to do it in the MD-82 in the fleet, then yeah, we would burn a whole lot of extra fuel, and therefore we're less likely to make significant profit. But as Fritz is saying, as the airline grows more and the transition nears completion, with everyone else moving from FS Hub into the new Sky client, then what we will then do is expand that route network, and we would also be able to identify where people are flying the most, so you could request certain routes based on where you're flying, and we can look at the free flight version, flight logs, for those of you flying in the free flight mode, to work out particular areas of the world that are very popular. We can then create hubs and bases out of those, and take over the world. Ah yes, Matthew, yeah, we do have one X-plane fleet in the airline already, the 737-600 for free flight. Aaron, good work. Troggy Poggy says, any way I can get flight plans from your server in Discord? What sort of flight plans would you be looking for it? Lazarus, yes, it does, but we earn less money. And also, if there are 6 of us flying the same route, each of us with a capacity of 100 seats, as an example, that would give us a total available capacity of 600 seats for that leg. If there were only 400 passengers waiting to fly in that general direction, though, for that route, then there would be 200 seats or 2 aircrafts worth of empty flying. So there would be 2 empty sectors, which would then incur a loss, and we would have to offset that against the profit earned from the other flights with passengers on board, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like VA elements as real as it gets. Let's grab some of them sunsets. Oof. Pinky in the brain. Not watched that in years. Not heard of that in years actually either. Badger, yes, yeah, we do need to add that as well. We were adding a few yesterday. I just ran out of time effectively to add them all. It takes a little bit of setting up. Tomorrow's departure, we are flying out of Seattle, SeaTac, and we're going to be off down to Phoenix. So yeah, that's a great way for people to kind of get introduced to the airline. Some of you could fly passengers into Seattle on a free flight mode from various parts of the States to move more passengers and more demand into Seattle, ready for tomorrow's flights out of Seattle down to Phoenix. 26 months in, wow. Yeah, I can't believe that's how long the channel's been going for. My goodness. It's flown by as well. That's a quick 26 months. What we need to do, now it's going dark time, night time, just set the aeroplane up ready for nighttime ops. Otherwise all the screens and everything will be incredibly bright for our arrival, and it will cause us issues on landing. The one thing I confess I'm never good at, and you guys know this anyway because you watch all the time, night landings aren't my strongest point. Because it's a little bit more difficult, both in real life as well, to be fair, but more so in the sim, to get you that depth perception just right. Bring those down, and then we can probably bring the cigarettes off, panel lights, dome lights. We want the main panel bright and then the background lights off. And that off as well. Lovely. Look at that. In New Sky on the Osprey homepage, why is there no map show? Ouch. My knee, sorry. That ouch wasn't meant to be audible. Yeah, we could do, couldn't we, actually? I'm not sure, actually. Dan was saying there, in New Sky on the Osprey homepage, why is there no map showing under the Operations tab? I'm not sure the answer to that question, to be fair. Sadly, no, Joey, not flying across the pond this time round. So hopefully in the winter, for the eastbound version, I'll be flying. But yeah, I'm working, unfortunately, for this this cross the pond coming up, westbound. Is anybody flying Osprey in that out of curiosity? Or are we all flying, or are you guys taking part flying like BA and the real airliners? Yeah, so Aldrew, you can create a flight on New Sky using the program or the website. You can then click a little tab that clicks generate flight plan in SimBrief. It will then automatically generate it for you. And then on SimBrief you can click view flight and it'll all be there. Your OFP are all set ready, ready to go basically, which is really cool. And then you can click pre-file on VATSIM, you can click download, for example the PMDG 737. If you download the flight plan and you add it into those work folders inside the sim before loading the sim up, it all requires less clicks effectively. I mean, generally for those of us who have been testing it over the last day or two, it's been quite impressive. I don't think many of us have had anything negative to say about it. It's clean, it's fresh, it's crisp, it's easy to use, easy to learn. Much smoother as a user interface. It got dark very quick, Rabbi, yeah, very much so. Let's get some of these arrival things ready. Well, I mean, we're still early for top of descent to be fair, but do a little bit of the admin. So 160 for minimums. That's on 50. The estimated landing weight 59.3. And while we're in this screen as well, we can check the frequencies in the course. Flap 30 for the arrival, 141. And then on the charts, as we mentioned as well, that inbound course of 299, we can pop that into each of the nav course boxes. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the 737, if you don't set them in both, then you might find that it can go a little bit awry on the arrival. We also need to set the ILS, so 1113 on both nav 1 and nav 2. They're currently active, but what I'm going to do is there's no VORs or anything for us to use there. Oh, fair enough, so I don't even need to worry about VORs. So all we need to do is flick the ILSs across to the active boxes and then we are ready for the arrival. And we wanted auto brake 2. Yeah, we're going to have to work at making sure the PAX numbers are correct, yeah, as Fritz is saying. David, nice, you're doing delivery in Vancouver across the pond, that's exciting. Dan's saying there we should have the A330 for the winter version or the PMDG 777. That would be epic for eastbound. 100% I'll be in the 777 for that across the pond. No matter what the options are, it'll be 777 all the way, I think, on that one. 100%. Easy choice. Joey was asking earlier in relation to flying across the pond, which would you recommend for the event? The A310, the A330neo, or maybe the 737 Boeing business jet? I think the A310 or the 737 BBJ would be the safer choices. Certainly if you end up getting holds or you need to fiddle around with those sort of oceanic coordinates, they'd be easier to input them into those. Probably more so the 737 than the A310, but whichever one you prefer, the idea of flying, to be fair. Oliver, welcome. City lighting down below. MPS Gaming said you got 1 of 100 special edition EKBW Velocity 2 Gold limited version CPU blocks. My goodness. I'd have stuck that straight on eBay. It sounds quite snazzy. And then I'd have gone and bought number 100. Rab's got 15 minutes to top of descent. Good work. Blasting along. Nox Gaming, welcome. How's your Friday? It's a very tired Friday. I was meant to finish work at midnight last night and I ended up finishing at 8, well, I got home at about 8:30, 8:45 this morning. I started yesterday at 4 PM. So, yeah, I'm surprised that I've been able to operate a 737 up to this point, to be honest. But then I flew it a little while ago with COVID as well, so... I can't say, unfortunately, Oliver. We'll pop a little fix ring in, runway 30 left. We'll just do 4 and 8. There we go. So 180 till 4. Sorry, 180 till 8. 160 till 4 DME roughly. Cruise page. Transition levels done. We've pulled in our wind data. QNH 1011 now. We'll make sure that's set. And we can retune that ready in the primary flight display too. BKG Blueface, yes. So, good question. So tomorrow we're in the MD88, the Microsoft Flight Simulator, part of the new expansion from Leonardo Software House. So about a year and a bit ago they released the Mad Dog, the MD82 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's something that I was reluctant and sort of held on for a little while as well, but I've ended up really enjoying it and finding it quite an incredible aeroplane to fly, even with its issues. Still got a gripe about the price tag though, because it's incredibly expensive. They've just released their expansion pack for the Mad Dog, which gives you the MD83 and the MD88. There aren't massive amounts of difference between the newer variants and the MD82. The main one really for like the MD88 that we'll see tomorrow is the fact that it has more glass cockpits and a much more powerful pair of engines as well behind it. But otherwise it's effectively the same aeroplane. Doc saying, have you answered my question in passive-aggressive fashion? I haven't seen your question. Where is it? I mean, usually when you ask the question, Doc, you know the answers already, so you probably knew the answer was no. I can't see your question anywhere. Am I being blind? No, I actually can't. So I've gone all the way up to hitting 25k. Giveaway. I saw that. I can't see anything else. Doc saying, can I use call sign, for example, Osprey 4 November Zulu when flying Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu? Yeah, I think it seems logical to say yes to that, Rich, doesn't it? I know in Discord we have all of our call signs reserved. But yeah, I think that would be fine, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a headache trying to sort out all of the call signs and all that sort of thing. The only thing we might find is there could be issues if somebody's operating the route that shares the same call sign, then that person connects to VATSIM to fly a different flight. There could be some issues, but yeah, Ian, it is a huge amount of money. 115 Australian dollars seems quite cheap though. It's 90 quid, which is about 160 Australian dollars. I think 150 Australian dollars for us, just for the MD82. And then it's cost £27 or 30 euros for the MD83, MD88 expansion as well, which got released. So we're going to explore it tomorrow live. We're going to fly Seattle to Phoenix, just to see what happens, really. Pikachu Blueface, you are more than welcome. Yeah, Doc, so in that case I think you would be, instead of using schedule mode, you'd be using free flight, and that'd be fine. I think it makes sense to say yes to that, to be fair. Otherwise it would get unnecessarily complicated, and it then would allow you to tweak the call sign a little bit more simply on VATSIM by just changing the 3-letter identifier if you're flying Fly Dubai, say, instead of Osprey. How are we doing on Volanta? Let's have a little look-see. We've got quite the conga line apparently, although we have lost a couple on the way. So Pergy at the top, Osprey 5 Papa Hotel. He's just over the Persian Gulf now actually, so he'll be pretty much into descent. A few aircraft in towards Dubai at the moment. We've got approach, tower and ground online. Epic. Emirates 37. Azza, fly Dubai 716. We've got Badger as well, flying in the A320 Neo. Ourselves behind us, Osprey 71 Alpha Golf. With a couple of screenies. He's flying this 737-600, epic. Oh, that's a really cool. Oh, there's Ian as well. Osprey 2472 over Isfahan in Iran. Got airborne then, Ian. Epic. Ah, yes, and he's in the Osprey Holidays livery. Spectacular livery, that. Especially now going into summer season, and now we've got an incredible virtual airline client to put it to use on. We're going to have a little fleet of Osprey Holidays aircraft for those summer routes to Samos, Skiathos, Mykonos. Oh, floating A320. So even though some of these routes that we're going to have, some of the routes certainly are going to have very challenging approaches, like Skiathos, like Mykonos as well, famous for its wind shear, and Samos as well. That is one of the routes we've got input. So we're not going for the easy stuff, we're going for the proper challenging things. And that then means that we've got to work harder as pilots to make sure we are landing accurately. Ah yes, David, the 737-700. Ah yes, Innsbruck. We do need to add Innsbruck actually. Aaron's saying, I'm really liking this new Sky client. I've used tons of VA clients in the past and I'm really impressed so far. Not having something like this has stopped me flying Osprey in the past. It's good to hear it's giving you a bit more of a purpose to flying with the VA then, and kind of getting a bit more involved. Because I know sometimes it can be a bit, certainly with FS Hub, we were going down the line of it being very casual. Fly what you want when you want, effectively. Yeah, that's the one, Fritz, like we did today. So we've logged the flight as Osprey 165 in this instance. What I've then done on vPilot, as I've gone to file the flight plan on VATSIM, I've changed the call sign to Sky Dubai 5 November Zulu. But on New Sky, you would start the flight and log it still as the Osprey call sign instead. 100% BKG Blueface. I was actually speaking to Hans yesterday, or was it David? No, day before yesterday, sorry. Lost track of time because I've been awake so long. So I was chatting to Hans yesterday on Discord about the progress of it so far. We're all excited for it, of course. Microsoft are pulling the strings a little bit in relation to release, so there's going to be no previews or anything for us to enjoy properly. You can't necessarily just send the preview beta branch over and say, take this for a spin and show everybody, because yeah, that would be Microsoft's decision more so than his. But it is pretty much ready to go. A lot of us are really excited for the ATR, I think, as Joey's saying as well. They're so excited for the ATR. Somebody else saying earlier on too. %, Doc. ATR's definitely a must-have. It's hard to gauge what level of complexity it's going to be at. I feel like it's with Hans creating the CRJ, I think they would have gone down the line of it being similar to that level of detail and complexity, which is perfect because it's kind of in that middle ground where those of us who love that detail can have the detail without all of the incredibly immersive complex systems in the background. So then it allows people that don't want that level of detail to kind of push the boundaries a little bit, have that enjoyable mid-range. I feel like it's going to be there somewhere, but it's going to be complex to use still, as Haz is saying, more complex engine management that comes with turboprops. I certainly don't know what I'm doing with that aeroplane. I'd have to learn. Yeah, no auto throttle. But Lanzaros is saying, is ATR a modern aeroplane? Well, I'm inclined to say no, you know. weirdly enough. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Ultra says we are going to have radar into Dubai. Yeah, we've got complete ATC. We've got UAE radar. We've got approach. We've got ground and ATIS. So arrival ATIS, information Bravo. Let's see if we can tune this in. 126275.
Bravo. Dubai International Airport arrival Bravo. At time 1500. Expect ILS approaches. Arrival runway 30 left.
Lovely.
Surface wind 260 degrees.
That's what we planned for.
Visual visibility 10 kilometers or more. Temperature +23. Viewpoint +16. QM8 1011 HPA. Cloud Q 4000 feet. Advise aircraft type on first contact. Enhanced wave turbulence separation in port. Minimum reoccupancy required. Water sign transponder code until on stand. Caution possible glide slope plus. Advise ATC Cottage Bravo.
There we are. Right, let's now tune Dubai radar. Or well, UAE radar. 13215. Still a little way out yet. Living the dream, epic. That's going to be really good. Nice to have the glass cockpit upgrades as well. That slightly more modern look to the ATR, and that little bit more of a perhaps easier transition across from aircraft like this as well. It might help me learn it that little bit quicker. I'll be learning it live. I'll be learning it with you guys, getting all your tips, tricks, trying to get my head around it as best as I can. It's going to be good fun. ATR 72600. That's the one I'm really looking out for. Not too fussed about the 42. I just want the ATR 72. The big boy. Big boy prop. And then yeah, hopefully not too long after that, the Aerosoft A330. Brad prefers the Dash 8 himself. I think both are quite good. They've both certainly got their own place in the sim. I mean, we've not heard anything about there was a Dash 8 being developed, wasn't there, by what are their names? I don't know, but a developer that disappeared and stopped saying any updates and things. Majestic, that's it, Doc. Great shout. Oh yeah, Milviz were making one as well, but they ditched it, didn't they? They scrapped it and said we're not making one anymore. No, Milviz were making an ATR, sorry. They ditched it because they knew Hans was making one. It was going to be a Microsoft product. They just weren't going to be able to compete with it. But yeah, Majestic were making their Dash 8. I haven't heard anything from them for goodness knows how long now. I've kind of given up hoping that it's coming. Persian Gulf coming up. Quite a stunning landscape in the darkness. Well, that's the kind of twilight that's left. lingering from 37,000 feet. Bahrain is the other side of the Gulf as we look out over the window. Qatar a little bit further that direction. Not, I mean, a little bit, ever so slightly left of where our nose is pointed as well. The other side of the Gulf would be Abu Dhabi. But of course, we're not heading there today. We're heading to Dubai. Dubai, fam. As I was saying, fun fact, Olympic Air has one plane left in a hangar for historic reasons, an ATR 42, and it's actually in Flying Tampa's scenery in Athens. That's pretty cool. Living the dream, saying Liat's 72-600 in the Caribbean. Can't wait. I feel some island hopping this summer. That's going to be good fun, isn't it? In and out of Princess Juliana, Antigua, St. Lucia. It's going to be really nice. Barbados, so on and so forth. Someone else a minute ago said, oh, there we go, Hazza saying from the video it looks more like it'll have Honeywell type avionics, which are closer to the CRJ. Slightly easier transition there then, if we're familiar with the Barbie jet. Perhaps said Dubai is about to become mega busy. BKG Blueface saying, I bet the ATR FMC is going to be so hard to tune. I've seen people fiddle with the FMC on the Q400 on X-Plane and I literally got a headache. I hope that's not going to be the case. I mean, if it is, then there's gonna be absolute carnage on the stream as I'm trying to configure that. It'd be like the Concorde. Those of you who remember, we flew that live, and it took us an hour and a half just to get it on, just a Mach 2 once we were at cruise. Oh yeah, MPS Gaming. It's an insane amount of money, and you can't buy the expansion for the Mad Dog unless you already own the Mad Dog, because you need the MD-82 for the MD-83 and 88 to work. And now there's some criticism on the forums about the price of the expansion pack as well from Leonardo, because it's €30 for some very minor things, many minor tweaks. Here we go. Hello, if you could do me a favour to send flight level 290 when ready to reach Orsar, then contact me shortly before Orsar. Okay, there's Orsar. So, flight level 290.
Captain, you have an incoming direct message.
Descend flight level 290 when ready to reach at Orsar, then contact me shortly before. So that's moved our top of descent actually a little further away. That's good, that's proactive ATC there, because otherwise we would be calling him up, going hello. We're probably actually, but we would have been at flight level 250 to be fair, so we would have been a bit lower. That's not too bad, but he's proactively getting in touch with us so that we can all configure our aircraft accordingly, and we'll just flow straight into his airspace really effortlessly. And that is, I think, the first time I've had that. That's epic. Dan, that's part of VATSIM radio, the that freeware VATSIM radio system thing that we had a little look at a little while ago. But it comes with its own audio, which overwrites the audio from VATSIM. So you have a completely different message tone. Not saying it wouldn't be so bad if the 82 came with the pre-EFIS avionics, but the 88 and the 83 are inherently the same, so €30 is ridiculous. Yeah, there's very little difference, isn't there, between the variants. So for €30, I do feel like I've paid a steep price. I haven't got it for free, by the way. I've paid the €30 for the upgrade, so I can see what it's like and all that sort of stuff. BKG Blueface, I'll leave that one to you, Nox. BKG Blueface saying that he feels the Flyby A380 is coming out this year. I would be happy to see it this side of December. But I'm happy to wait as long as it takes to get a fantastic A380 from those guys. And it will come at some point. Of course, sooner the better, but I would rather it be ready and done. Ultimately, it's software development, so even if they were to say December 2023, it could still end up being March 2024. I think every stream we have somebody say the A380 is coming out soon, but it's not anytime soon, I don't think. They are working really hard at it. Obviously, I'm not really inside Fly-by-wire anymore, very much kind of just watching from a distance. But they've been making some beautiful progress. It looks absolutely stunning. And yeah, they're showing a lot of it off. It doesn't necessarily mean it's coming anytime soon, though. They're just showing people the progress, and it's easy to kind of get hyped over it. Certainly because it's something that loads of us really, really want. I'm really excited for that. But it will come when it comes. Yeah, as Nox is saying, it will release when it's ready. I wouldn't stress, but it will be much more functional than when the Fly-by-wire A32NX came out. Yeah, Badger, it's range, glass cockpit and engine power, isn't it really? They're the differences you're paying for, but for €30 I think that's probably quite steep. Anox. I don't think, well, I think some people would be surprised, but a lot of us love everything that Fly-by-wire does, and the level of complexity and depth to what they've brought the A320neo into as well. You know, that's still my go-to over the Fenix, realistically. We were discussing that last week on stream, with issues with the Fenix starting to really grip me. But yeah, I'd be a little bit less enthusiastic if it released like I remember the first QA thing I did for Fly-by-wire, which was the seatbelt sign toggle on-off. PR. If it releases as that, I'll be, oh, come on. Yeah, Doc, you make a good point, actually. Oops, let's go top of descent. Really, really spin the wheel. So, auto brake set, QNH is set 1011, Barrow set, refs are set 290, got Ortis set, VNav's armed, LNav's, they're both active as well. We're going to go back to managed speed, let the speed come down. And now VNav path's active, throttle retard, down we go. Top of descent, folks. Let's go to Dubai. So also at flight level 290. Oh, what was I going to check? The weather. Yeah, QNH 1011. Orsar coming up, so we shall contact.
Sorry, Dubai arrival 124.1.
As we pass Ilira, we'll contact him there, but we'll call Dubai arrival as well, 1249. We'll pre-tune that because that's who we'll be speaking to next. 124 decimal 9er.
Emirates 37.
Emirates 37, go ahead.
Emirates 37, contact Dubai
Yeah,
arrival
because you blue face me too.
124.9.
I'm feeling like I'm getting more and more frustrated with some of the issues that I'm experiencing on the Fenix, and I know some people aren't actually getting those problems. Some of us are, some of us aren't. But those of us who are getting the issues, including myself, just finding it increasingly frustrating. It's a bit of a shame.
10,000 feet.
Is that Skyways I've just heard?
QNH 1011. 10,000 feet, level 5 route, QNH 1011, Skyways.
UAE radar, hello, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu 737-800, descending flight level 330 for flight level 290, level by Orsa, information Bravo.
Got about 4 November Zulu UE radar. Hello, thanks for Bravo. Squawk 1720.
1720, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu. What was the squawk? God, what was the squawk? I forgot. Literally, that is my brain that's just completely wiped out. 1. Oh, let's get the 172. Yeah, I think it was 1720. We'll go with that, Ultras. Ultras said it was 1720. Oh god. What are we at now? 36 hours awake? My goodness.
Got about 4 November Zulu identified. It's the VTEB, sorry, cleared VTEB 3 Delta arrival. And descend when ready, altitude 10,000 feet. Level by VTEB, QNH Dubai 1011.
VTEB 3 Delta arrival, QNH 1011, descend VTEB 12,000 feet, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu. Little changes to come.
You have an incoming direct message.
I just had another one saying, any chance you're British Av Geek? Okay, let's. I need to stop messaging people on VPilot. I need to change this urgently. VTEB 3 Delta now, ILS 30. The rest stays the same. ORSAR flight level 290. We're passing that. Drags required. That's good. That's
Congrats on the first 25k. This is the place to learn and have fun.
It's like he's watching. I was just trying to get my head around making sure all of this is set up correctly. There's all dot. That's good. That's fine. So pop a little bit of background lights on so you guys can see a little bit more of the displays and dials, and I'm going to very quickly bring Navigraph up to show you the change of plans. So instead now we're going VTEB, Lovok, Delta Bravo 529 patted. Then we have that incredible transition over Dubai. It's actually quite scenic, to be fair, so it's a nicer arrival over the airfield, over the ILS approach, down to Rapi, or Warpi, if certain parts of the UK. Dukak, Delta Bravo 522, Delta Bravo 523, and then speed reducing to 185 knots at 524. And then we basically do the opposite to what we planned. So we're turning left and left again to then join the final approach for the ILS 30 left, which is what we already have planned. Mikhail, thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. Super chat. Thank you very much. I missed it with the little bits of change of plan with the ATC there, but very generous of you, buddy. Thank you, and great to have you on board with us for the journey too. FPS Gaming said I had to turn off ice in Microsoft Flight Simulator because Phoenix doesn't like that, so it only looks like ice on the plane, doesn't do the effects. To be fair, I think I've had visual effects on for a long time only, not anything else, just because of the issues that we get with it, really. Same with aircraft stress damage. Aircraft's depressurizing. I'm going to be lazy, I'm going to turn that on now. And Dubai on our 12 o'clock. All the lights. Rab saying amazing view in front of him with the city lights. Oh, yeah, absolutely, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Osprey 7-1 Alpha Golf here, your radar, hello, squawk 1740.
The various pop-ups when we do land are going to pop up. We've got the landing rate monitor from Parallel 42's Flow Pro. Little landing rate widget for us to kind of look at and enjoy. Control visualizer will be down the bottom left again, so you guys will see the controls on final approach when I'm flying the aeroplane for that last little bit. But then also with the new sky overlay that we've got running, and you guys will get it too when you sign up to the airline and you enable the new sky overlay inside the settings. At the very top over here, it might get in the way of my overlay for the stream today, but you'll see a landing rating pop up around that this drop date bit there. 124.9. I'm going to flick that across. In fact, I'm going to flick both across, so they are both active. I don't need any VORs, so I'll just get it scanning for the ILS already. Rab says, I think some people were having issues with Flow Pro with some update 12. It was updated the other day with Orbex, so it should be okay. We'll find out in a minute. We'll find out. Who knows? Oh, Rab, no way. What was the cause, do you know? Was it that dreaded graphics driver warning? God, now I'm anxious flying into Dubai. Fritz says, could you by any chance hide the overlay on final till touchdown and back on when you vacate? Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. We could do that, couldn't we? Don't let me forget. When we go downwind, I'll turn the overlay off. How about that? And then you guys can see the new one. Gorav, hello to you, welcome. Emirates 99 Bravo. Yeah, to be fair, Fritz, you're flying along behind as well, aren't you? FPS Gaming, I can make one.
Emirates 247 leaving message shortly, Bahrain is offline, monitor Unicom 122.8, bye-bye.
A little bit of energy management, keep the speed brake out every now and again for a little while to keep the speed bleeding away. Probably get back in my seat properly as well. Plunk that into position for the approach. Oh, don't know what that means, Rab. It's so dark. I actually didn't realise it was going to be this dark when we set off from Yerevan. I thought it was going to be sort of sunset arrival, but
Skydive 4 November Zulu, contact UAE radar 12 friction Dubai arrivals 124.9. Have a good evening, bye.
Dubai arrival 1249 for Skydive 4 November Zulu. Thanks, good night. 11835. Set that. Dubai arrival, hello, Skydive 4 November Zulu with Bravo descending at 13,000 feet for 12,000 feet, VTEB.
Skydive 4 November Zulu, Dubai arrivals, good evening, sir. Expect the ILS approach 30 left.
So the ILS approach 30 left, Skydive 4 November Zulu.
Skydive 4 November Zulu, that's correct. Descend via star, altitude 8,000 feet.
Send via the star at 8,000 feet, Skydive 4 November Zulu.
Lufthansa 806, establish ILS runway 30 left.
VNAV LNAV, defend via the star is something you hear in the States as well. So what that means is we follow the constraints as we step down through the arrival into the airport. Average 1249, ground then 118.350, which is what we got tuned ready. That's good, happy with that. Oh, Rab, yeah, try DirectX 11. You rarely hear people having issues with that, to be fair. At or below 230 knots now, so the airplane's trying to achieve that as we pass VTEB. Might need to keep the speed brake out a little bit here. Don't forget as well, those of you who fly on VATSIM around the UK now, the western parts of the southern airspace of the UK have become this FRA sort of area where,
turn left heading 030 degrees.
Where you will have waypoints instead of airways and things like that. Epic, Cornelius, thank you buddy, very generous. 5 more gifted channel memberships courtesy of Cornelius this time. So 5 more of you guys get 30 days of channel memberships to enjoy, thanks to Cornelius. And if you have been given a gifted membership for this month, make sure you link your subscription for the month into your YouTube. So you link your YouTube account into your Discord user settings, and it will get you access into the club lounge on Discord. Night shift brain, mumbling all the words in the sentence up. Oh, what a time to have a delivery.
Emirates 37, turn left heading 330 degrees, cleared out approach, runway 30 left, report established.
Left on heading 330, cleared ILS runway 30 left, approach, all the report established. Emirates 37.
Departures Alaro Express India 346 on November for holding point November 9.
Bingo, back.
Express India 346
Cornelius.
25k members. Yeehaw.
Thank you, buddy. Hey, let's put the logo lights on. Lovely. Well, actually, and we'll confirm the seatbelt signs are on. Good. And we'll do the crew ding dong. Cornelius, thank you for your super chat. Very generous of you as well. Through 10,000 feet, so we're popping the landing lights on.
Dubai approach, Emirates 7, 8 miles inbound, runway 30.
John, yeah, you're right there. We do need credit for the repair shop.
Approach runway 30 left, number 1.
Number 1, clear to runway 30 left, Emirates 7.
Express India 346, the winds 260 degrees, 1 more knots, runway 30 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 30 right.
So the mega airport of Dubai, just in view over there.
Dubai 716, 24 miles from touchdown, descend unrestricted altitude 2,000 feet.
2,000 feet, Dubai 716.
Good luck, and a buttery landing. We need the credit for repair shop.
Contact ground 118.35. Good night.
John, thank you for your super chat, mate. Yeah, we need to buy that landing gear. Loads of landing gear spares. Not much to see on the outside, sadly. As we turn towards the airport. Got the logo light on though, looks nice. Great paint scheme. But the view is in front, really. We'll expect another descent in a moment.
Osprey, just wait 10,000 Golf with you, sending 12,000 feet, 10,000 feet, and 27.
Sorry, last station calling, taking call sign only.
Osprey 71 Alpha.
Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, Dubai arrivals, good evening. Expect the Alice Bridge 30 left.
Yeah, that's Hazza.
Information
Look,
Bravo,
that one.
1011.
One, that's good. VRF's 141, so add 5, 146.
71 Alpha Golf, that's correct. Descend via the star, altitude 8,000 feet.
Send via the star 8,000 feet.
So we'll probably get down to 5 as we transition over. It's the builder going past the window that our dog absolutely loathes. Oh, funny. The second he sees him, he's literally at the window.
BS346 identified, climb to altitude
Right turn coming
5,000
up,
feet.
so we can see an aircraft on approach there. About to land.
Take info, Express 346. Express 346, climb to altitude 7,000 feet.
I'm to altitude
Lazarus, freeware Oslo, buddy. From flightsim.to, Hergies freeware Oslo. Really good. Top notch.
Skydive 716, speed now 190 knots.
190 knots, Skydive 716.
How's that?
Skydive 4 November Zulu, 25 miles from touchdown, descend unrestricted altitude 2,000 feet.
Send unrestricted 2,000 feet, so Skydive 4 November Zulu. Keep it at 205. We'll do 1,400 feet per minute for now. We'll see what happens. If you have disconnect, that's fine. It's because we've switched. As is on the downwind. And Dubai. Transitioning over. The aircraft below.
Skydive 716, they're not heading 210 degrees.
Right heading 200 degrees, Skydive 716.
If you were in the passenger views, let's see what we'd get.
Emergency 7.
Lovely.
Runway 30 left. Petit via kilo 8.
Emirates 347, roger.
Quick
that.
check of the
Turn left
progress
onto
of our
Kilo,
descent. Oh my goodness, spoilers.
and, stand
Speed.
Alpha 4.
That's a bit better.
Emirates 37, left Kilo, stand Alpha 4.
Left on kilo, stand Alpha 4. Lima 67.
Skydive 4 November Zulu, speed now 190 knots.
190 knots, Dubai 4 November Zulu. That's a mouthful for a call sign.
Skydive 716, right heading 270 degrees, cleared out bridge 30.
It's a bit of a night fog coming in here as well, look. Kind of setting in around us. There's Hazza, centre of the screen. Good old screenshot upload failed.
346, contact UAE radar now 132.15.
So speed's good for flap 5, that's going to increase the drag, so that's going to allow us to then decelerate down to 190 for the speed restrictions, the ATC.
Thank you, Aiden.
Dubai approach, hello, Sky Dubai 784 with you, inbound VATSIM, descending to flight level 100.
Skydive 784, Dubai arrivals, good evening. Expect the Alice Bridge 30 left information Bravo is current QNH 1011.
Affirmation Bravo, QNH 1011, Sky Dubai 784.
And Skyboy 784, expect the ILS approach 30 left, descend via
Oh,
star,
Dan,
altitude 8,000
epic.
feet.
That is a good effort.
Star, altitude 8,000.
Impressed.
Runway 30 left.
Let's see if I can get that as well. Probably not. Not with the lack of sleep.
Skyboy 716, maintain 160 knots till 40 DME.
160 to 40 DME, Skyboy.
There's Hazza. Going in. So speed 190, descending unrestricted. We've got down to 1,000 feet per minute as well now because we're using a little bit of power. So let's keep it coming down. Let's see how low we can go. They're heading on the other side of the downwind leg now, effectively the opposite end of the circuit. Lights.
Skyboy 716, confirm established.
Them on as well. Lights and signs. That's all good. Aircraft's depressurizing.
Skyboy 716, roger that, the wind's 260 degrees, 1 more knot.
Order brake 2.
Left, clear to land, vacate kilo
Don't
8.
envisage needing to use speed brake now, so we shall arm it ready.
Clear to land, Skyboy 716.
And the missed approach is briefed and the charts prepped. Yeah, please do roll the truck, Shadowbox. Just in case. Make sure that angular bank collar's back up. Proper job, Dan. Doorman, hello, welcome.
Skyboy 4 November Zulu, left turn heading 030 degrees.
Left 030 degrees, 4 November Zulu. Oh, I feel like my brain is working like overdrive. Okay, let's hide. Actually, let's do the music first, and then there we go. Fritz, look at that. Great minds think alike. So I'm going to hide the overlay, folks. Top of the screen, because there is an overlay that you guys would get on when you're using New Sky and flying for Osprey Airways, that you will be able to enjoy and have in your own sim effectively when you land. So we're going to have a look at that today. Badger's on his approach. We should be getting
71 Alpha Golf, 24 miles from touchdown, descend unrestricted altitude 2,000 feet.
Descend unrestricted 2,000 feet, crossway 7 Golf.
left turn any second. Here we go.
Skyboy 4 November Zulu, left heading 330 degrees, clear out approach, runway 30 left, report established.
Left 330 cleared, ILS 30 left and report established for 4 November Zulu. Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu is a horrible call. That is the worst call sign I could have picked. Choggy Poggy says, what does the course heading do? It basically tells the aircraft how to align and which course to align for the ILS. 330 set 2000, approach arm, speed 180, 5 at the moment, flaps set to 10 and green. Gears not down yet, but we've got the ILS at 10 miles, 2,000 feet.
Skyboy 4 November Zulu, maintain 160 knots till 4 DME.
160 till 4 DME and just establishing now, Skyboy 4 November Zulu.
Skyboy 4 November Zulu, roger that. Just accompany number 1, can see approach, runway 30 left, time to vacate via kilo 8.
Continue approach number 1, vacate kilo 8, Skyboy 4 November Zulu. That's what we mentioned earlier about the little rules they have here, vacating at specific high-speed exit points. So we need to try and help the controller achieve that. Gear down, 3 green, flap 15, we'll go for flaps 30 straight down to that now actually I think. Holding 2000, we'll align this back to 299, 160 till 4 DME, 299, we reset this to 3 for the missed approach.
Arrivals, Golf Air 257, 10,000.
Golf Air 257 Dubai arrivals, good evening.
And seem to be engaged, so we've got both working, so that speed's good. 8 miles, reducing to 146.
Yeah, Golf Air 257, that is correct. Expect the ILS approach 30 left, descend, Vita Star altitude 8.
Oh, kilo 8, yeah. That's Concourse A. So it's about halfway down.
And 30 left, Golf 2 Foster.
Let's see what happens. So get out 3 green, flaps green 30, auto brake 2,
716, right on
speed brake
kilo,
arms,
and hold short kilo, contact ground 11835.
cont and cont, lights and signs, final master caution check.
And ground on 11535, Skyline 716.
11835.
11835, thanks, Skyline 716.
Auto thrust,
Guided by 4 November Zulu, the wind's 260 degrees, 11 knots, runway 30 left, clear to land.
clear land 30 left, guided by 4 November Zulu. 146, my throttle, bring the speed down.
Golf, speed now 190 knots.
30 days, shield pressure.
Guided by 784, maintain 8000.
Maintain 8000. Schedule is 8784.
Some slightly variable winds. Got the control visualizer up for you guys as well. A little bit of a distraction there, but we've got it back.
Guided by 784, 23 miles from touchdown, descend unrestricted altitude 2,000 feet.
146 is what we're
Descend
chasing.
unrestricted altitude 2000 feet. Schedule by 784.
So I'm going to drop the throttle here. That is going to allow the airplanes to increase the rate of descent, but I'm going to keep the pitch the same. I'm not going to pitch down to chase the ILS. Pitch for speed, thrust for the rate of descent instead. So you basically drop the power, the aeroplane will descend. If you need to change your speed, however, so our speed's kicked up a little bit, what we need to do is just pitch up slightly, just to let that speed trim away, bleed away.
Osprey 71 Alpha Golf, right heading 210 degrees.
Okay, approach at minimums. Now we've got an 11 knot crosswind. It's just swept right round to a crosswind. Make it a little bit more difficult for us.
Approaching minimums. 100. Minimums.
Continue. Here we go.
30, 20, 10.
Goodbye, hello, Qatari 1018, descending 10,000.
Oh yeah, baby. Reverse.
Sorry,
Green.
Dubai arrival. Good evening, expect Alice for 301.
Passing Kilo 12.
Sorry, 1018, that's correct. Break, gas spray 71 Alpha Golf, right heading 270.
Kilo 11.
Break 30 left report established, maintain 1.
Kilo 10.
To 40.
Right, 270 established.
Kilo 9.
And 160 return to 40 and 8 Golf.
Sorry, 1018, descend via star altitude 8,000.
50 knots.
Left star 8,000.
Hey, look at that. Ever the pro. Bring the speed down a little bit more, just to go below 50 to vacate the high speed exit. And I'm going to use a bit of a zoomy mode to come out here and start the APU. Ground ignition mode to off. That little overlay, you guys would get that as well.
Dubai 4 November Zulu, welcome back to Dubai, right head, correction, right on to Kilo, contact ground 118.35, good night.
Right, Kilo, contact ground 118.25, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu, thanks and have a good night.
You too, and that's 11835.
Cheers, 11835, 4 November Zulu, bye.
Right. Sky Dubai 784, speed now 190 knots.
11835, we'll just keep a little bit of speed, so lights, all of the lights, yeah, pulse light strobe, 1-2 strobe steady, transfer the power, do. Dubai ground, good evening, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu's vacated at Kilo, request taxi gates.
Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu ground, welcome to Dubai, taxi Kilo, Lima 3, Mike 2, hold short of 30 right.
Taxi Kilo, Lima 3, Mike 2, hold short 30 right, Sky Dubai 4 November Zulu. Pop the overlay back on. That's not bad, and then this is the flow widget. So you can see there a touchdown was just ever so slightly to the side of the centre line, but in the touchdown zone nicely on 1.08 G.
73 Dubai ground, go ahead.
I have a question about the 80s information. So on 80s information.
Flaps, good shout, Drew. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And in the last part of the 80s, there is the information 30 right is closed.
You've got to keep the transponder on here.
No, thank you.
Kilo Lima 3. Oh, Fritz, please. That would be great. That would be so good.
7973, it seems that 80s information is not correct, but we're operating now on dual runway, so you can proceed for departure on runway.
Can't see very much. We've got the FlightSim.to Dubai enhancement mod, which improves quite significantly the Premium Deluxe edition of Dubai that's included in the sim. A Shutterbox saying, I'm going to start a committee of the Association for the Health Promotion of British Avgeek. Our main charter will be to ensure Luke maintains adequate hydration and sleep. Yeah, to be fair, yesterday was a last minute thing, although they said that last time. And at the start of the week they cancelled my day off too. Mike Jerry's looking forward to the report on News Sky. Introvert Flight Simmer, welcome. Hitesh, I hope not, because I've got one on order with a 24 gig of 4090. John's saying there is a good Flow Pro PMDG widget that does all of the first officer after landing checks for you. It even starts up the APU. That is actually pretty cool. That is worth checking out, actually. And you know, in a way, it's actually more realistic because you're getting the first officer doing those checks whilst you navigate off the runway and do all the rest of the stuff like flaps. Dan says he scored 9.17 with no penalties to beat. You got it. I don't know what I'd get actually. To be fair, I think, by this rate, I'm going to have parked up late for about 10 minutes. It's a ruddy long taxi. Oh no, David! Did it crash though, or did you just about get away with it? Oh, where's he taking us? Kilo Lima 3, Mike 2, hold. I feel like we're going to Terminal 2. That's where we're going. Got to watch your speed on taxi as well, otherwise you get penalties. He says as he goes ragging off down the road. Lima 4, that's not what we want, so we need the next right, not this one, the next. Oh, David, that's a sucker. Sorry, buddy.
have an incoming direct message. Captain, you have an incoming direct message.
Echo 1.
Captain, you have an incoming direct. Captain, you have an incoming direct message.
Oops.
Skydiver 4 November Zulu, cross runway 30 right, Papa 2, left Papa, stand Echo 1.
Cross 30 white, Papa 2, left Papa, stand Echo 1, Skydiver 4 November Zulu, thanks.
And we were granted 3773, information Bravo,
GSX. Now crossing the runway, we have to turn.
Go 7973, clear
That doesn't help.
Luxembourg via read up to Foxtrot departure. Maintain altitude 4000.
Do strobes.
0533.
Okay, Echo 1.
7973, clear to Luxembourg via read up to Foxtrot, initial 4000.
Nata. Oh yeah, so they're on, strobes are on.
7973, readback is correct, information Bravo current, QNH 1011, report when ready for pushback.
1011, copied, and we call you when ready for push.
Papa 2, left Papa, so straight over. We keep the strobes on until we pass the runway guard lights, which is just here. Gonna go left. Papa 2. Yeah, much better enhancement, isn't it, actually? It's certainly easier to navigate on the ground with the enhancement installed. Mr. Laser Pilot, not today, unfortunately. Right, 224 feet per second as well, David. That's epic. The thing is, so you've crashed to desktop on touchdown. So New Sky apparently will record that as a successful flight still. You did, Laser Pilot. Thank you. Echo 3, Echo 2, Echo 1 with the ground equipment there ready. And in we go to end our journey.
Cargolax 7973, stand Charlie 38, pushback approved, face east on Kilo.
Pushback facing to the east, Cargolax 7973.
I've twiddled my GSX settings as well, folks, so now you'll notice I'm not going to get the blips everywhere. It should change, David. I think it takes 30 minutes to recognise. So I'm not getting the guidance left or right. Instead, I've just got the marshaller, and I'm having to follow his commands to try and get it on the line. So actually, he's indicating straight. GSX hard mode, Matthew. Definitely. Come on, give me them big wide bingo wings. There we go. Oh, look at that. Like a real pilot. Engines. I parked too far, but that's because you told me to stop. I'm not taking that one for the team. Anti-collision lights on. So now we get the pop-up at the top here saying, do you want to close your flight? There we are. So we click close. The UI's in the way a little bit there, that's annoying. And then it gives us a little thing to say it's closed the flight successfully on New Sky. Which is cool. Dan, yeah. Have I been penalised for that?
Captain, you have an incoming direct message.
Mike says, let's see the report. Let's get GSX fired up. Deboarding.
Boarding requested.
Dubai ground hello. Sky Dubai 784 vacated.
That's quite impressive, isn't it, as a backdrop? Look at that.
Sky Dubai 784, taxi kilo. Right Lima
Trying to
3,
bring up the app
Lima
now.
3 Alpha.
Neil, I'd love to, but I would never be able to. If I got it wrong, I'd lose my job immediately. What was your score, Dan? 9 point, what was it, 9 point what?
Kilo, Lima 3, hold short, Lima 3 Alpha.
Let me find it. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it?
Hold short, Lima 3
9.17 with no penalties. 9.17, I hear you say.
Passengers bus is coming.
Okay, so what do you guys reckon I got for my score then? It's out of 10. 10 being good, 0 being atrociously bad / crashed. Oh, Mike Jerry. Straight in there. Bam. 9.81. Slightly off centerline landing as a penalty. 0.19 as a deviation from centerline. Perfect score under 4 meters in good conditions. Talks about it on the rating system there. Great touchdown, 1.1 G. 543 meters from the threshold. And there was our little routing. A complete flight log, that goes into all of the things that it tracks. As you can see there, beacon off, nav on, taxi off, landing light off, strobe off, all of the different sequences of changing altimeters and how it reads through things. Quite interesting to look through that to understand how it works. It's quite smart. But there you go, and a profit of $5,576 for the airline as well, and actually 10-15 minutes ahead of schedule slightly, which I'm quite happy about. That's quite cool. How's that, Dan? Mr. Laser Pilot, all you've got to do is join the link in the description, or in the live chat that's pinned at the minute. Dan, you were so confident though with your score, and I actually thought I would be able to beat that. Crikey, that's a weird walk. There we go. So whilst that is all cracking on, I'm going to move towards the threshold of the runway, I think, because we've got, how many have we got in? Do we have an idea of how many people we have flying in that are left? Try and spot some of these rather epic landings. Yeah. That's it, Hergy. Welcome to Dubai. Oh, look at those lights. With that, that's a Dreamliner coming in as well, isn't it? Oh, that's bright. Crikey, that's very bright. Jeez. Yeah, 9.81. That looked pretty cool. We got to see who else is inbound now. My goodness, there's loads of them. That fog's really setting in. That was Qatar 1018 from Doha to Dubai. We've got Charles coming in, Emirates 456 in the Emirates A300 600F. Graham Osprey 569. Ultrius as well, those who got the sim problem. And Ian as well, Osprey 2472. Badger, that's an epic score, buddy. 9.88. That's leading the way. That's a tiny little penalty there.
Taxi Kilo, stand Foxtrot 1. Sorry, 1018, second.
I'm going to wind the time back now because we're not tracking the flight. We watch them stars zoom around. We catch that. It's always about the sunset, isn't it?
Star 1018, Roger, continue taxi Kilo, stand Charlie. Okay, Kilo, Charlie 6, Qatar, Kagak 7973, taxi via Kilo.
Where's the threshold? There's the touchdown zone.
Right, Mike, hold
We're ready for him.
Charlie.
9.87, Aaron. That's really good as well. My goodness. We're going to literally own New Sky.
The
expenses on that report were $19,210 and a revenue of $24,786. My goodness.
Juliet 2, Juliet, Bravo 12. Golf 257, cheers.
Skydivide 784, Dubai ground.
Trying to work out how to view.
Skydivide 784, go ahead.
Wow, yeah.
Skydivide 784.
Fair play, Badger. That's epic. Flying the A320 Neo. 150 passengers out of 180. He's made a profit for the airline of $6,384 US dollars. Quickly show this while that aircraft's on short final. Yeah, I'll whack it on night mode. Off centerline landing, a little bit less than me as well, and a perfect touchdown too. Awesome. It also shows the OFP, so you can see Badger's actual flight plan that he used attached to the flight report, which is really nice. And we'll have a look at Aaron's as well in a moment, and Dan's. Ultrius, $3,696 loss for the airline for that route. Oof.
Cadillac 7973, right on Mike 13 Alpha.
There we go.
Holding point runway 30 right.
On Mike, right to Mike 13 Alpha, inbound 30, right to total 7
None, Hergy. It's a $1 million penalty for hull loss, sadly. D-pod. Oh my goodness. It might be the accountant role, David. Mikhail, no worries, buddy. Have a good one. Enjoy that Seattle deadheading to carry a load of punters across. Massive 777. Oh, it's actually model matching for an A300 600 instead. Best nearest. No GSX, not now. Is that like a Tui Paphos moment from 2015 where it landed on the taxiway?
Contact departure.
Oh dear.
124 decimal line, have a safe flight, bye bye.
Troggy Poggy, thanks buddy. Welcome on board, joining us as a silver frequent flyer. Make sure you link your YouTube account to Discord. and it'll get you access into the club lounge. Back to that window thing then, we were just talking about Aaron's score as well. He got 9.87, slightly off centre line landing there with a deviation. So he got 0.13 deducted from his total score of 10, which is where it begins. Again, not many penalties as well. That's fantastic. In the 737-800, 11 minutes ahead of schedule. Departed 1 minute ahead of time. Perfect. And Dan as well, wasn't it? There we go. Again, 6,203 balance of profit there. Total revenue on the flight of $19,712, including $13,509 of expenses for the airline, 4,213 kilos of fuel burnt, and a slight deduction of 0.83 for an off-centre line landing, 14.22 meters from the centre line. And another perfect touchdown. That's awesome.
456 Dubai ground, welcome to Dubai, taxi Juliet 2, stand Alpha 1.
Here comes the next pilot.
To the Alpha 1, Airbus 456.
Ooh. 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 I don't know what this is meant to be. I feel like this is a model matching moment where it's a bit confused. He's down. Look at the Dubai with this freeware enhancement. Look at that. That was Osprey 569. Ultras is next, followed by Ian to lead the pack in. Play motion is our virtual airline system called New Sky that we're migrating Osprey Airways across to. It's linked in the live chat and the pinned message, if that helps. Okay, I can see that. Strobe lights on the left. That's the one, Hitesh. Yeah, so the payware Dubai that you can get from Fill Their Sim is pretty rubbish. I wouldn't advocate buying that, but there's a really nice freeware enhancement that you can get for the MSFS Premium Deluxe Dubai that adds some really nice touches to it that we've seen today. Really does make it look payware level. No pressure, Ian, that's it. So, and the other thing is, I can't see the report for today until tomorrow. Actually, hold on. 7 free flights flown, 1 scheduled flight flown. Is it the 20? Oh yeah, so I can't see the actual finances for today. Or the expenses. I can just see the flights that have been flown and the types. But I can generally see if they've made a profit or not, which is quite cool. Oh, Rab, perfect. Just what I need. Oh no. I'll show you this as well while we're waiting. So there's a map on New Sky that kind of helps us compete that little bit more. So if I go to map, zip, there we are. So you see all these aircraft flying around everywhere, various different virtual airlines operating on the system. There's loads of different airlines, my goodness. And we'd effectively be competing with all of them. There's Osprey 90 Foxtrot there on final. And then Osprey 804 Foxtrot there. Oh, is Fritz firing in? Oh my god, I've zoomed out too far in Volanta. I think I'm in space. Where on earth am I now? Oh yeah, Fritz is coming in from Athens. Epic. Rab, have a good one, buddy. Did you want us to hold on for you, Fritz? Not sure how long you would be. You did. I didn't click. Ultra's still offline, no worries, buddy. Yeah, focus on the landing. Make it accurate, make it good. And this be Ian. Nice one, Mike. See you tomorrow. If you are wondering about tomorrow's live stream, folks, we're in the brand new Leonardo software house MD88, the expansion for the MD82 released yesterday for Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Left 7973 via Mike 13 Alpha, wind 270B.
And we're going to be flying into Phoenix, Arizona with the MD88. I don't think it will have been added to New Sky in that time, unfortunately, though, so we won't be able to log it on tomorrow's thing for the airline, sadly, but nevertheless. Yeah, they've only got the MD82 currently. But I have sent them all the data for it. We just have to see if they get it done. 45 minutes, no worries. No more Tom content. Burning through the fog. Ultras, perfect 10 for your landing. That's epic. Jalapenos. Mind you, it's better than pineapple on a pizza. As it's going to do Manchester, Heathrow, Manchester now. Want to try out the New Sky malarkey, so I guess then you're going to use the scheduled mode, right? And fly the actual aircraft from Manchester to Heathrow and then back again. Here comes Ian, no pressure. It's a crosswind of about 11 knots now.
Royal Jordanian 613, descending and passing flight level 190.
Jordanian 613 to arrivals. Hello, continue on Unicom 122.8. That'll be closing shortly.
Still continue.
Yeah, that looked good. That looked very good. Right on the centre line, in the touchdown zone. There we are, Ian. And for Ian, it's like 4 in the morning for him in Perth at the moment, so that's ridiculously late. That's why I have no excuse for being tired. There's the little Osprey taxiing off in the background as well. There we have it. Dubai. The vanishing city of Dubai, it seems. Well, that's weird.
Welcome to Dubai. Turn right on Kilo. Hold short Kilo. Cross the ground on your
there we are.
side.
Yeah, so Dubai from Yerevan in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sim update 12 seems to be working quite nicely for us, but I have not updated to the latest NVIDIA driver just yet, because I know some people are reporting issues with that. Massive thank you to those of you who flew along today. I hope you found it fun, enjoyable. Hopefully you guys as well are learning about New Sky now as we transition across to that new client. Get hyped and excited for that too. Gonna ditch off Com 1 to Unicom so we don't get over talked. It's quite loud. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to the transition from Osprey Airways away from FS Hub across to New Sky. Much more realistic, much more accurate way of recording, logging flights, competing with other airlines, and also competing with each other as well to try and be top of the airline as well for all of those landing rates, expensive profit, everything like that. There's lots to have a little look at, so do explore New Sky and have a little look at the airline. It might be something that you're looking for. But join us tomorrow. We're in the MD88 and Leonardo Software House flying Seattle to Phoenix on the VATSIM network. Going old school, and we're going to see a couple of new sceneries actually, to be fair. So Phoenix is a new scenery by AMSIM, but also the focus for tomorrow is going to be on that new expansion for the MD83 and MD88 in MSFS. That's the Dubai enhancement. You can find it on flightsim.to. And it does increase all the immersion with the ground markings and all that sort of stuff as well, so you get ground marking signs, better lighting across the whole airport, which is quite nice. Hit like and subscribe before you guys head off. Thank you to all of you as well for being part of the journey. We're over 25,000 subscribers now, which is absolutely mega. Long may the climb continue. We're going to be chasing 50 now, and keep an eye out. 2nd of April, I think we're going to pencil it in for a group flight on VATSIM with some airliners around Brazil, finishing in Santos Dumont for a very, very tricky approach for a good bit of fun on a group flight. Welcome to all of our new channel members. Thank you to those of you who donated through today as well. Mikhail, Cornelius, John, Dan as well for upgrading and tipping as well at A Shadowbox, Alpha Bravo, and those of you as well who have donated a couple of stream memberships for others to enjoy for the month too. That's very generous of you and it's much appreciated. Hope you guys have all enjoyed today's live stream. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you guys same time 1300 UTC for some more Mad Dog magic. In the meantime, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.